You're watching Major League Baseball on TSN, the sports network.
History. It is said that those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
WIP sports time is 7:24.
It's a conspiracy.
How so?
Tell you how. Who was it stole home for the Reds in 1964?
Chico.
Ruiz.
Right.
Who was it scored from first on Dykes' error last night?
Chico Ruiz.
That would be Chico Walker.
The Chico theory.
A single Chico theory. Have you ever seen him in the same room?
I haven't.
The '93 Phillies' dismal play over the last month has conjured up memories from the past. Gene Mauch and the 1964 Philadelphia Phillies were a terrific team. They dominated the National League for 150 games when suddenly things went wrong. Philadelphia lost 10 straight games, and what was a 6.5 game lead on the St. Louis Cardinals became the most infamous collapse in baseball history.
CIQC. One thing about Norman, when they were 14 out, he said, you watch, they're going to make a move. Got to give him credit for that.
610 WIB.
Angelo, why are you getting so upset about this?
Because, you know, here's why. Because I keep seeing the Giants, and I feel like we're about a week behind the Giants and their full job.
Is this team playing the same way that the Giants are?
Playing a little better.
A little?
They're playing, come on, they're one game under 500.
Hey,
and everybody is ready. You're talking
Mike,
about 64.
How does Dykstra make that mistake last night? That never happens.
In September, the Phillies have not played like the team that opened up a 14.5 game lead. And combined with the spectacular play of the Expos, the season hung in the balance as they prepared to square off in a 3-game series at Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
This isn't the Montreal Forum they're going into. They've had their run. They had a nice run. They gave us a little bit of excitement, and now they die like dogs.
Tell me, Norman, tell me Philadelphia on the weekend. Tell me what you think.
I don't say what I think. I say what I know. We're going to sweep them.
Marquise Grissom's steal of third in the 12th inning put the Expos in a position to win Game 1. Moments later, he scored the winning run on Delino DeShield's sac fly. The lead was cut to 4 games. Game 2, Tommy Green was the story with his bat and his pitching. The Expos trailed 5-4 in the 9th when Larry Walker stole third. Was history repeating itself? Unfortunately, Mike Lansing struck out. Sean Berry flied out. The Phillies won 5-4. The lead was back to 5, and today it's the Expos and the Phillies right here on TSN.
Expos Baseball on TSN. Brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi reminds you to be young, have fun, drink Pepsi.
This afternoon from Olympic Stadium in Montreal, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Montreal Expos. Hi again, everybody. This is Dave Van Horn along with Ken Singleton, and as the line in the song goes, the days dwindle down to a precious few.
That's very true, Dave. We are in September. The Expos and Phillies going head-to-head for the last time this season. And the Expos really need this ball game to make it 2 out of 3 to try and keep some pressure on the Philadelphia Phillies as we get down towards the end of the season. The Expos also need some help from the rest of the National League, particularly the Braves and the Pirates and the Florida Marlins, who played the Phillies after the Expos.
The Expos this afternoon are looking to a 22-year-old rookie.
Well, he's done the job so far. Kirk Rueter comes in with an 8-0 record at ERA, about 2.33. He's been excellent. He's pitched very well getting into the latter stages of the ball game, and then the bullpen can take over, and they've done a fantastic job.
Kirk Rueter has pitched at 3 different levels in the Expos organization this year, and his record for 1993 is 18-2. He is up against the veteran left-hander Danny Jackson for the Phillies. This is Expos Baseball on TSN.
Don't even think about it.
When we at Nissan saw Lexus do a test like this to show how well their car is put together, we were very impressed. So we decided to try it on the Nissan Altima. You can imagine how pleased we were when our car's tolerances tested as accurately as theirs. Because ours is an entirely different kind of luxury sedan. It's an affordable one, the Nissan Altima.
At Olympic Stadium, the Expos take to the field to a standing ovation from the fans. The first 2 games of this series, over 96,000 have come to Olympic Stadium to see the Expos and the Phillies. And another terrific crowd on this Sunday afternoon. The Expos in this ballpark have been terrific. Where they have won 51 games, they have the best home record in the league. And the 22-year-old from Hoyleton, Illinois, drafted by the Expos in June of '91, Kirk Rueter, with a perfect 8-0 mark on the mound today for the Expos. The Philly lineup is brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. For the Phils, Len Dykstra, Mariano Duncan, and John Kruk at the top. Then Dave Hollins in the cleanup spot. Darren Dalton, Wes Chamberlain in right field, batting 6th. Ruben Amaro fills in left. Kevin Stocker, the shortstop, and the pitcher is Danny Jackson.
Mr. Adams. Hey, you've come to take away my baby, huh? She's yours now. Take care of her, and she'll be good for you.
I guess you're gonna miss her, aren't you?
Yes, but life goes on.
And here is Kirk Rueter on the mound for the Expos today. His 8-0 start tops Chris Nabholz's start in September of 1990 for the most wins in a row by a starting pitcher at the start of a career. Kirk Rueter has been nothing short of sensational.
You know, his control has been the key, and the fact that he can put his fastball just about where he wants it, and also has a tremendous changeup. His curveball is his 3rd best pitch. So his fastball and change of speeds is what's been getting the hitters out. He won't strike out many. He won't walk many.
For the Expos, Rondell White in left, Marquise Grissom in center, Larry Walker in right. On the infield, Randy Reddy, Delino DeShields, Will Cordero, and Sean Berry. Tim Spear gets the catching assignment today, and Len Dykstra is ready to step in. Dykstra hitting at .304. Rueter delivers the first pitch. Our game is underway as Dykstra backs away. Len Dykstra has scored 134 runs to lead the majors. Ken, he is the catalyst.
He's the one that makes things happen. I know several players in the league are having outstanding years and will get MVP consideration, but Dykstra will be right up near the top.
A ball and a strike to Dykstra. He'll be followed by a right-handed batter, Mariano Duncan, then another left-handed batter, John Kruk. The Phillies now have won 90 games. There are 3 teams in the majors at the moment with 90 wins or more, all in the National League. The Phils, the Braves, and the Giants. 2 balls and a strike to Dykstra. Dykstra, a veteran. 30 years old. This is a veteran Philadelphia ball club. The youngster on the Philly team is their shortstop, Kevin Stocker. Dykstra hits a shot to right field and has a base hit to open up the game. Walker gets it back in quickly, and Dykstra is aboard. He has 37 stolen bases, has been caught 10 times. He's in the top 10 in steals.
And you mentioned the stealing ability of Lenny Dykstra. Kirk Rueter's move is not extraordinary. He doesn't have a good move, but one thing he does do, he varies the patterns of his throws to first base. And he'll hold on to the ball a little bit longer at times, and sometimes, just sometimes, he gets the runners leaning and taking off too soon.
Randy Reddy getting the call at first base today. Joined the Expos and filled in so well while Delino DeShields was injured, and has now gotten a few starts at first. There's a ball hit on the ground to Delino. They get one, and they do not get Duncan at first base. Lou is out to talk to Charlie Williams about that call.
Well, while they argue about it, we're going to get a second look. A jam shot, the ball not hit very hard. Delino comes up, whether the flip is clean to Cordero, and the relay, let's check it out. Well, it's hard to tell right there. Maybe Duncan did beat it out. This might be the definitive shot right here, and it looks like he's safe. Yep, he beat it.
One down, Duncan aboard on the fielder's choice. John Kruk is the batter. Kruk is hitting .315, 13 homers, 78 RBIs. Rueter works to Kruk, gets a strike in there. John Kruk is in the top 10 in hitting. He's 8th in the league with that .315 batting average. Tony Gwynn out for the rest of the year is going to win his 5th batting title with a .358 average. Greg Jeffries made a run, but he's going to come up short, batting at .341, unless he has the most sensational final 2 weeks that a player's ever had.
You know, one thing about managers going out to argue close calls, it's not so much about that particular call. It's to influence the umpire, maybe, so you get the next close one. The next close one will go your way.
John Kruk, 0-1. Duncan at first base. Duncan has 6 stolen bases in 10 attempts. One ball, one strike. Kruk's hit into 10 double plays this year.
Well, Kruk got off to a great start along with the ball club. He is slumped somewhat in the second half of the season. And this Philly team, remember, they came out 34-15 to start this season, and really got a jump on the rest of the division and are trying to hang on. So the Phillies are going about it by getting off to a great start. The Expos are trying to do it by finishing strong.
2 strikes on Kruk. 1-2 the count. Phils have been alone in first place since April 11th. A ball and 2 strikes to John Kruk. Rueter to the plate. Kruk hits it foul and out of play. Duncan back at first base. Kirk Rueter up against the #1 scoring team in the National League today. Phillies with 821 runs. Kruk chops a ball toward Reddy. He'll get the out at first base. 2 down. Duncan goes to second. John Kruk chopping a ball to Randy Reddy, who had just 1 play, and that was to retire Kruk. And now with a runner in scoring position, Duncan at second base. The batter is the cleanup hitter, Dave Hollins. He's batting .273 with 17 homers and 84 runs batted in. The RBI leader on the ball club is on deck, Darren Daulton. He's driven in 102. Hollins is right up there, third on the club with 84. Rueter stepping off after checking Duncan at second base. Mentioned the Phillies leading in scoring runs as Spear goes out to talk to Rueter. We can also tell you the Phils lead in walks, extra base hits, doubles.
They're up there in home runs. Hollins, remember, he's got 77 walks. He missed about a month of the season out with hand surgery, so he might have been near 100. And that would have given 4 Phillies the 100 mark in base on balls.
As it is at the moment, they're the first club in National League history to have 3 players with 100 or more walks. Ball 1 to Hollins. Dykstra, Dolphin, and Kruk have all drawn over 100 walks.
Great patience at the plate. One of the keys to good hitting. Make them throw strikes.
Two balls, no strikes to the switch hitter, Dave Hollins. Two and 0 on Hollins. And the off-speed pitch is hit in the air to right. Larry Walker backpedals a few steps, and he's got it. No runs, a hit, and a runner left. After a half inning, no score. This is Expos Baseball on TSN.
Oh, baby, I can't stand still. I'll keep on working, and the hours will keep on moving. Yeah, looking for the sun. A lifetime of driving, baby, but the thrill is on. I can't stand still.
Ford F-Series trucks. They've kept Canada moving with the best-selling pickups for over 27 years.
See that badge? It's your guarantee that a trained expert is working on your car. Midas specialists average over 100 hours of shop each year, honing up on the latest, from anti-lock brakes to emission control technologies. Trust your car to Midas.
Choosing the right heating and cooling dealer used to be a real guessing game. But now, with Lennox Quality Dealer Standards, Lennox products and dealers are an unbeatable team. Quality Dealer Standards, only from Lennox.
You're looking at left-hander Danny Jackson, 31 years old and in his 9th year, looking for his 13th win. And now we'll check out the Expos lineup, brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Marquise Grissom, Delano DeShields, and Rondell White make up the top of the order. Then Larry Walker, Sean Barry, and Will Cordero. Randy Reddy, the first baseman's hitting 7th. Tim Spear behind the plate, and Kirk Rueter will bat 9th. Jackson 12 and 11 on the year, making his 30th start tonight. Has one decision against the Expos this year, a loss.
He's also got a good fastball and a good slider that usually breaks in and down on the right-handed hitters. And if the hitters can lay off of it, it is very tough to do when Danny Jackson is right. You can get ahead on the count on him and maybe do some damage. But Jackson is, he's been around. He's a veteran pitcher. And over the years, he's been injury prone, but this year he's been just fine for the Phillies, and has been doing a pretty good job for him.
Grissom hitting at .293, takes a ball. 17 homers, 89 RBIs. No score in the first inning. This is Grissom's 22nd game in the leadoff spot, the spot normally occupied by Delano DeShields. Since coming back from his injury, Delano's been batting second. Grissom is normally the third place hitter on the club. Jackson missing, ball 3, 3-0. Now you look at walks with the Expos, they've drawn less than 100 walks fewer, or rather more than 100 walks fewer than the Philadelphia Phillies. The Expos have not been as patient at the plate as the Phils. And Marquise draws a game-opening walk for the Expos. Now that's his 49th walk of the year. The leader on the club, Larry Walker, has 74, so the Expos don't have anyone close to 100 walks. Defensively for the Phillies, Amaro, Dykstra, and Chamberlain in the outfield. Kruk, Duncan, Stocker, and Hollins along the infield, and Dalton behind the plate.
Well, you mentioned that, and that's 100 fewer opportunities to score. Now, with Grissom walking on 4 pitches, Delano should be taking this first pitch.
A throw to first base. And Grissom, who has 44 stolen bases, is back safely.
In fact, the Expos should be taking until Jackson throws a strike.
Two throws to first base. DeShields batting at .294. And a ball. Returned to the Expos lineup on Wednesday in St. Louis. Had missed 29 games with a sprained ligament in his left thumb. Jackson looking directly at the runner Grissom and throwing over again. Grissom has a shot at leading the league in stolen bases. Chuck Carr of the Florida Marlins has 49. Greg Jeffries at St. Louis has 45, and Grissom is next with 44. Two and 0.
So Delano is one of the more patient of the Expos hitters, and if he hadn't been out for a while, he'd be challenging Larry Walker for the team leading walks. In fact, when Delano left the lineup with the injury, he was among the top 10 in the league in receiving base on balls. So he knows what he has to do here. He's going to make Jackson work, and if Jackson can't get it over, the Expos will have 2 men on base and maybe the possibilities of a big inning.
And if his approach to hitting continues to progress as it has in the years that he's been in the National League, one day he might take a run at your club record. Pitches inside. 3-0. Jackson hasn't thrown a strike. You set the club record in 1973, and it has stood since then when you drew 123 walks. Here's a 3-0. Johnny Padres will go talk to Danny Jackson. Walks to Grissom and DeShields to open up the ball game.
You know, a pitcher's preparation for his next start comes after he has completed or hasn't completed the day that he's pitched. Danny Jackson this morning was out here at 11:15. He was the first person on the field, and he was stretching, getting ready, and kind of meditating over near the Phillies dugout. He's had a history of muscle pulls in his legs and abdominal pull over the years that kept him out. So he was out here preparing to get ready to start against the Expos just after 11 o'clock this morning on the field, the first player on the field today.
First and second, Grissom and DeShields aboard. Rondell White. Ball one. Rondell's in the lineup with Moises Alou disabled.
Same thing applies to Rondell that applied to Delano. You're not going to swing until he throws a strike.
White playing in his 11th major league game today and hitting third for the Expos. Two balls and no strikes to Rondell White.
Meanwhile, the crowd gets louder with every ball that's been thrown, and they're trying to rattle Jackson in the early stages of this game. This is where the crowd can enter into a game early, and that's what the other managers say. Take the crowd out of the game, score early, quiet him down. Well, the Expos are on the verge of getting into this game without swinging a bat.
2-0 pitch coming up. He got a strike in there, hitting the outside corner. 10 straight pitches out of the zone before he threw a strike. Two and one now to Rondell White. Strike two call. Rondell White was brought up the 31st of August.
Right here, I don't think you look for anything fancy by Jackson. I don't think he'll try a breaking ball or anything. Right now, he's just concerned about surviving this inning, getting the ball over the plate.
Rondell pops it up. Shallow right. Duncan back. Chamberlain in. One away. Here's Larry Walker. The rookie left fielder Rondell White disappointed after the pop-up. Cliff Floyd to our left and Kenny Hill to the right. Larry Walker batting at .278, 21 homers, 83 runs batted in. He was at third base last night with one out. There goes the lead runner, Grissom. The throw to third is blocked by Hollins. Grissom steals third base. DeShields froze at first base.
Delino wasn't watching Marquise in the lead, and I think Marquise's jump was so good it even caught Delino off guard. Here's a pitch for the strike, but Grissom now has his 45th stolen base of the year, and more importantly, he's at third with one out.
The Expos with an opportunity to score here. Walker has to stay away from the double play. Bouncer back to Jackson, holds the runner at third and throws to first to retire Walker. Now two down, runners at second and third, and Sean Berry will be the batter. That's a big out for Danny Jackson, getting Larry Walker.
First of all, he kept the ball in the infield and right back to him, which is when the ball comes back to the pitcher, he can make any decision he wants as to any base he wants to go to. If the ball had been grounded towards second or short, it wasn't hit very hard. That would have given the Expos a run.
Sean Berry hitting at .264, 14 homers, 48 RBIs. His fly ball to right field last night ended the game with Walker at third base. That was after the Lansing strikeout. As we pointed out last night, Ken, that's what you look for, though, in that kind of a game. You look for the opportunity, a chance to win if you're trailing, and the Expos had that. They came up a run short, but they had the opportunity right down to the final out to win the game.
It doesn't always come up that you're going to win, but the fact is they got to bounce back today and make it 2 out of 3 against the Phillies here, and then move on to their series with the Atlanta Braves here at the Big O, which starts on Tuesday night.
If Jackson gets out of this, it's going to be a big lift not only to Jackson but to the Philadelphia ball club. Remember, he threw 10 consecutive balls to walk Grissom and DeShields to start the game.
Well, maybe getting used to the mound. After all, he warmed up in the bullpen, and the mounds are similar but not exactly the same. Maybe the slope on the mound is different on the field.
Berry taps it to the right side. It's bobbled. The Expos get a break. Duncan had the third out of the inning in his hands, and he couldn't hold on to it. And it's 1-0 Montreal. Duncan's 22nd error of the season.
They're going to give Berry an infield hit on this play. Now, to me, it looks like an error.
Oh, that's an error.
But the official scorer calls it a hit, and Berry's going to get an RBI.
I'm sure that's going to be changed. But we'll go with the score for the time being. But that has to be an error. Here goes the runner, Berry. A fake throw to third to hold DeShields, and Berry jogs on down to second with a steal.
Now, we saw that last replay, and it was evident if Duncan had caught the ball, he could have thrown Berry out. Berry was not in the picture when the ball got to Duncan.
A routine play. And you can't award a hit on a routine play that should result in an out.
Well, remember in his last start, Jackson lost the game when the Phillies made a couple of errors. And after the ball game, he was kind of critical of his teammates and the way they played behind him. That was the game against the Mets that the Phillies lost 5-4.
Right. Will Cordero had a huge home run last night. 3-run shot, his 9th of the year. He's batting .255. Ball 3-0. Pitch coming up. There's the third walk of the inning to load the bases for the former Philly, Randy Reddy.
You mentioned Cordero's 3-run home run last night off Tommy Green, and Cordero hit a pretty good pitch on a 3-2 pitch from Tommy Green. He was down and away. Most of the time Will has hit home runs this year. They've been on pitches that are up in the zone. But last night he really went down and got one and put the Expos back into the game with one swing of the bat, and really couldn't hear yourself thinking here last night when that ball disappeared over the fence.
Randy Reddy's hitting .257. Playing in his 33rd Expos game today. A home run, 8 RBIs, and 1 strike to Randy Reddy. First inning of play, and the Expos have a run in.
Along with the fastball and the slider, Danny Jackson throws a cutter, and this one looked like it had a little movement at the end and caught that outside corner.
One ball and 2 strikes.
That's the pitch he tries to bury in on the hands of the right-handed hitters, hard and low and in.
One and 2 pitch, and Reddy drives the ball to left. Amaro is there, and that's all for the Expos. 1 run on 1 gift hit, and 3 left. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
Have you ever tasted Crystal Pepsi?
No.
Definitely different than traditional Pepsi.
What do you think? Everyone is watching. We're waiting.
It has a cleaner flavor.
It's got a taste all of its own. What do you think?
Refreshing.
Not heavy. No, it's not syrupy.
We're still waiting, Brandon.
Please recycle. That's good.
Just different.
Wow.
Okay, Brandon. What do you think? We're waiting.
How about it? It tastes real good. What do you think?
Coming September 24th. They've come from different worlds.
Football saved my life.
To pursue the same dream. This is the story of what it takes.
They're talking about how good I am under pressure. And we never mentioned this during recruiting.
To fight the pressure.
That's all you care about is the program. The damn program.
Face the pain. And survive the program.
Time to check out the scouting report on Kirk Rueter in his last start. This was against the St. Louis Cardinals. He beat Allen Watson and the Cardinals. It was that wild and woolly game against St. Louis. The Expos won it 12-9. 7 innings pitched, no runs, and a couple of earned runs. We talked to Kirk about pitching to the Philadelphia Phillies this afternoon.
I hope, well, the last time I faced them, they put in all the guys off the bench, and they hit me pretty well, so maybe that's what I need. They need to put the starters back in, but it'll be different. I mean, I'm hoping a lot of their stars are left-handed. I know with Kruk and Dalton and Dykstra. So hopefully I'll have a little advantage on them, but they're all great hitters, so I'll just have to hopefully keep the ball low and see what happens.
Kirk Rueter will face Darren Daulton to lead off the second. It's 1-0 Expos. Dalton's hitting .258, 24 home runs, 102 RBIs. And the big catcher takes a strike. He'll be followed by Wes Chamberlain and Ruben Amaro. Kirk Rueter has had a wonderful year. He's 18-2. Started out at Harrisburg, went 5-0. Was promoted to Ottawa, went 4-2. So a 9-2 record in the minors and 8-0 against the National League. 1-2 the count on Daulton. The leader in runs batted in the National League is Ron Gant with 109. Dave Justice is next with 107. And a ground ball between Barry and third base down to the left field corner, and Daulton has a double. Hit number 2 for the Phillies. And Daulton with his 32nd double of the year, tied for the club lead in 2 base hits with John Kruk.
Rueter had made some pretty good pitches until this one. Daulton cutting down his swing somewhat with 2 strikes, gets something in the middle of the plate. Kind of an inside-out swing, and he hits it down the line. There's nobody here. Remember, he's primarily a pull hitter. And he kind of fights this one off and picks up a 2-base hit. Maybe not the classic way he's gotten doubles this year, but certainly very effective.
Wes Chamberlain, the batter, hitting at .277, 12 homers and 40 RBIs. Chamberlain plays against most all left-handers. Jim Eisenreich, a left-handed batter, plays against most of the right-handed pitchers as they platoon in right and in left. Their left field platoon has been interrupted with an injury to Pete Incaviglia. There's a ball bunted foul, third base side. And 1-1 to Chamberlain.
It's not the first time we've seen a Philly try and drop down a bunt once the opening hitter of the inning had reached second. Yesterday, Dykstra had a double. And Mariano Duncan followed that with a bunt attempt, trying to move the runner over to third, and Duncan got a base hit out of it. That's Coach Jim Vukovic closest to you. On his left there, or in his right, you can see manager Jim Fregosi.
DeShields with the play. Daulton goes to third. A good piece of hitting by Wes Chamberlain.
So Wes, who could not get the bunt down, does the next best thing. He grounds over the second. You can see Daulton at the top of your screen there, and he immediately takes off for third. Delano gives him a look. He wants to see if he has a play, knowing he has time to throw Chamberlain out. You know, who's to say as a second baseman, if you casually throw the ball to first base, there's nothing to say that the runner could fall down going from second to third and you could get him out.
Ruben Amaro, a switch hitter, batting right. Into the lineup with Incaviglia out with that calf injury. Amaro batted .292 at AAA. And up here playing in his 19th game with the Phillies is hitting .359. Couple of doubles, couple of triples, a home run among his 14 hits. A foul ball out of play to the right. We talked to the 64 Phillies on the pregame show. Ruben Amaro's dad played on that ball club in '64, Ken. Here's a bouncer back to Rueter. He holds the runner and throws to first. A big out, getting Amaro with the infield in. And Daulton has to stay at third base. 1-0 Expos here in the second with Kevin Stocker, the shortstop, coming up.
Remember the Expos half of the first inning when Danny Jackson got Larry Walker to hit back to the mound? Well, this is just as big with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Kirk Rueter able to make the play, and Daulton has to stay put at third base.
Kevin Stocker, youngest player on this Philadelphia club, 23 years old, a rookie. They're going to walk him and go after Danny Jackson. The Phillies spent the early part of the season looking for somebody to settle down their inner diamond defense, and they failed. Their shortstop play was very poor, so they finally called up Kevin Stocker. That was in early July. Made his debut on the 7th of July. And in his first major league game, played 20 innings. Phils won the ball game. So that's how Stocker broke in. A game against the Dodgers, a 20-inning ball game.
Well, one reason the Expos are walking him to get to Danny Jackson is the fact that Stocker had 3 hits last night, and he had a hit in the opening game. And no sense taking a chance on a guy who's hitting 351. Let's move down to the pitcher who looks more like a bingo number.
086 on your card. 58 at-bats and 32 strikeouts.
Well, last night it was Tommy Green who helped himself out considerably. And you know, the at-bat where Tommy Green got the base hit to make it 4-1. The count went to 3-2. He fouled off pitches, both of his legs, one off each ankle, and still hung in there and got a base hit.
A strike on Jackson, 1-1. Now that was a terrific at bat.
Yeah, that was any number 4 hitter would have been proud of that.
1-1, and Jackson hits a slow roller. Barry has to hurry and gets the job done. No runs, a hit. 2 Phillies are left midway in the second. 1-0 Expos. You're watching Expos baseball on TSN.
In reality, times have changed, and Levi's jeans have changed right along with them. Oh, there'll always be a place for regular fitting Levi's. It's called Mark's Work Warehouse. But now there's something new. New Levi's loose fitting jeans, a more realistic way to fit in with the world. You don't have to go far to see how that works. Just to Mark's. For Levi's.
Enter Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. You can win trips to the top 10 sporting events, plus a brand new Dodge Viper. Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. Make it yours. Look for the Gillette display.
I'm Ken Singleton. Lung disease is the 3rd largest killer of Canadians. The Lung Association is the #1 hope for the #3 killer. Please give generously. We'll all breathe a little easier. Scouting report on Danny Jackson's last start against the New York Mets. We mentioned that Jackson pitched pretty well. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 1 earned run. But the Phillies lost. They made a couple of errors that led to make that 3 unearned runs, and the Mets won the game 5-4.
The Red Sox with a 1-0 lead in the second. The Red Sox had a lead in the 9th inning last night, yesterday afternoon, and lost it.
Yeah, the Yankees came back with 3 runs to pull it out, much the way that the Expo fans would like to see them pull it out.
So going into the games today, Toronto by 3 over the Yankees and by 5 on the Orioles. By the way, that's Danny Darwin against Frank Tanana today. Tanana makes his first start for the Yankees since being traded by the Mets to the Yankees.
Yeah, Tanana, a former member of the Boston Red Sox for a couple of years.
Goes from the Queens to the Bronx. Expos to the Phillies, and that's how the season series stands. 7-5 favor the Phils. You can see the hitting has certainly favored the Phillies, and so has the pitching in the series to date.
But even the Phillies ERA of 3.90 is kind of high, so both teams have been doing some scoring.
Now, because overall the Expos lead the Phillies in pitching. Tim Spear to lead off the inning. The Expos pitching staff is 4th in the National League, behind the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Astros, and ahead of both the Giants and the Phillies. Giants are 5th, the Phillies are 6th in the league in pitching. Tim Spear with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. He'll be followed by the pitcher Kirk Rueter, and then Marquise Grissom. A base hit for Spear.
Yeah, I was about to say that Spear is really a key for this inning for Danny Jackson to get that leadoff man out, because the pitcher is up next, and that's usually a free out. Well, now the Expos are willing to give up an out to move Spear into scoring position. He's been hitting the ball quite well since he's come back. Here's a base hit into center field, just out of the reach of Kevin Stockard. So now the Expos have a chance to use the bottom of their lineup to pick up at least one run. And usually when you play for one with a sacrifice, that's all you're going to get. But from the bottom of your lineup, you'll be satisfied to do that. Reeder's a pretty good bunter.
Sends this one back onto the screen behind the plate. Rueter so far in 13 previous games has got down 7 sacrifice bunts. Been with the ball club for half a year and is third on the pitching staff in bunting runners over, behind Hill and Martinez. Gets the bunt down there. Kruk up with the ball, has only one play, and Rueter does the job again.
That's so important for a pitcher to be able to help himself out, and it really boosts the ball club when you're up there knowing you want to give up an out, but at least move a runner across and give the other teammates a chance to drive him in. So Kruk with only one play, as you can see, and he gets a brief look towards second, but he knows where he wants to go. And Rueter is out, number 1.
One down, and Spear is in scoring position for Marquise Grissom. Grissom walked in the first inning and scored the Expos run. Danny Jackson with the pitch. Grissom hits it on the ground to short. Stockard fields this and throws Grissom out at first base. 2 down.
Here's a young shortstop. As Grissom shaking his head, he knows the pitch got in on his hands. But Stockard, the way he's looked since being called up, he's going to give the Philadelphia Phillies a shortstop for a very long time, and it might remind him of Larry Bowa, who is now their third base coach. Bowa is with the Phillies, and the Phillies been searching for a shortstop ever since Larry Bowa left or retired.
One ball and no strikes to DeShields. A fair ball over the bag at third. Tim Spear comes on to score. Delano has a double, and the Expos have a 2-0 lead. DeShields comes up with his first extra base hit since returning to the lineup and drives in a run.
Like I said, the bottom of the lineup building a run. Tim Spear with a leadoff single, then the sacrifice, and then the order turns over. Grissom didn't get the job done, but Delano does with the 2-base hit. So you don't look to the bottom of the order for your run scoring. You look for the top of the order and the middle part that do most of the damage.
Rondell White flied to right field his first time up. Fouled off and back to the right. A ball and a strike. A strike on the inner half, and it's 1-2. The Expos have a 51-23 record here at Olympic Stadium. The Expos lead the majors in home wins. 2-2. As a matter of fact, it might surprise some to know that the Expos have the 5th best record overall in Major League Baseball. The 2-2 pitch, and Rondell taps this one to Duncan. The Expos lead DeShields, but get a run and lead 2-0 at the end of 2. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
Enter Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. You can win trips to the top 10 sporting events, plus a brand new Dodge Viper. Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. Make it yours. Look for the Gillette display.
Even when you're far from home, you have access to the most complete range of banking services with TD's bank line. You can even pay all those bills you left behind. Or maybe not. TD, your bank, your way.
Hey, Roberto, which is the best pitch you've ever faced?
The one with McCain Punch.
Catch the taste of McCain Frozen Punch. In orange, berry, and fruit punch. McCain Punch is made with real fruit juices to deliver real fruit taste, which makes McCain the punch of champions, like Roberto Alomar.
Catch the taste.
Catch the real fruit taste of McCain Punch.
An update on Moises Alou. Doctors Larry Coughlin and Mitch Rubinovich went into the operating room with Moises, repaired the ligament damage to his left ankle, made sure the fractured fibula is in good shape, placed a couple of screws in the ankle to stabilize it. He's on the 15-day DL. And we asked his dad, the manager, Felipe, about Moises.
Well, Moises has been released from the hospital at midday today. He looks good. I saw him this morning. Great spirit. He's going to come back in full strength next year. We miss him very much. We missed him in left field last night, especially when they scored their first run. But the great news is, Moises is going to come back. He's going to be the same player that we saw during the season, and we got to thank God for that. And I also thank Larry Coughlin, our doctor, and the other doctor that assisted him in this very difficult surgery.
Lenny Dykstra takes ball 1. Dykstra led off the game with a base hit and was forced at second. Third inning underway, 2-0 Expos. Kirk Rueter with the lead. I know that everybody that has followed the career of Moises Alou and that follows the Expos is extremely relieved about the news, particularly post-surgery. And number 1 on the list would be Dad. Kirk. Two and 1 pitch. A sharp ground ball off the glove of Randy Reddy. Dykstra's aboard. He's 2 for 2. He has 2 of the 3 Philadelphia hits. And Len Dykstra now has 180 hits for the year. We don't know what Jay Bell is doing with Pittsburgh today, but at the moment, we would think that Dykstra is leading the league in hits with 180. The major league leaders, Paul Molitor with 195. Ball 1 to Duncan. Duncan forced Dykstra at second with a ground ball to second in the first inning. Now here we are in the third, and Duncan comes into the game with a 17-game batting streak. The longest of his career and the longest by a Philly since 1970. Make that 1990. Minor mistake, 20 years.
It's a matter of it's just a few calendar months.
Yeah. 2 strikes on Mariano Duncan, who chased the changeup, and Rueter's got a dandy.
Yes, he does. It's beautiful change off speed. You can see Duncan with the swing and just trying to hold up, can't do it. Change of pace is Rueter's equalizer.
It's the longest hitting streak by a Philly since Dykstra in 1990 put together a 23-gamer. Foul ball at third.
Mentioned Dykstra getting on base twice already with base hits. One of the keys in this game might be keeping him from coming around to score. When he scores 1 run, the Phillies are 33-24. When he scores twice, they are 23-2. Now, last night he scored twice in the game. When he scores 3 runs in a game, the Phillies are 9-0. But they have a losing record when Dykstra does not score a run in a game. Today he's giving it his best shot. He's been on twice. Let's talk about getting on. Now, these aren't batting averages. These are on-base percentages. And anything above 370 is considered pretty good. Look at Stocker. Look at Dykstra at the top and the bottom. And that's why the Phillies score so many runs. Their hitters are able to get on base, whether it's hits or base on balls. And keep innings moving, move runners up via the base on balls, and then somebody drives them in. I think on-base percentage is one of the most overlooked statistics on Major League ball clubs. And the Phillies have 3 in the top 10 in the league, in Dykstra, Kruk, and Dalton.
Yep, the 3 who have over 100 walks. Dalton pulls 1 foul. One ball and 2 strikes on Duncan with Kruk on deck. Rueter's 1-2 pitch. And a fly ball to left. Rondell White is there. 1 away. Phillies lead the East. Atlanta leads the West, and the Braves come in here next to Olympic Stadium for a series Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Atlanta's playing tonight at home against the Mets, and you'll see it on TSN at 8 o'clock Eastern. Sunday Night Baseball, the Mets at Atlanta. Braves with a 3-game lead on the Giants.
Good off-speed pitch to Kruk. It's a chance for the fans here in the Montreal area. If there's been one team that's been hotter than the Expos, it's been the Atlanta Braves. And a meeting of 2 teams have really turned it on down the stretch here. The Braves have been just phenomenal. And players like Gant and Justice, Jeff Blauser, and their pitching staff have really been on a roll.
Kruk bounced out to Randy Reddy in the first inning. The Expos have the infield at double play depth. Kirk Rueter, a good fielding pitcher. Pitches low and outside. He had a game back in August. Well, here's the Wednesday night game, the Expos and the Braves. Be the middle game of that series. Gant and Justice. 1-2 on Kruk.
Ooh.
2-2 on Kruk.
That pitch might have been outside, but not by much. Gary Darling. We haven't seen too many arguments on balls and strikes in this series. Well, the umpires have been right on the money. Maybe a few calls on the bases, but not with the balls and strikes too much.
Well, in the first 2 games of this series, you've had a couple of men who really take control of a game in Frank Pulley and Joe West. And you're right, they just don't let things get out of hand.
On the previous 3-2 pitch that was fouled off by Kruk, Dykstra was not on the move. And one way you stay out of double plays, he's going this time.
DeShields has just 1 play at first base. 2 down.
That time they stayed out of the double play by Dykstra was going on the 3-2 pitch to Kruk. So Dykstra holding his ground. He wasn't really trying to steal. He just wanted to be in motion on the pitch. Delino almost had a shot, but realizing he didn't, quickly threw the first to get John Kruk. Here it is, and now there's 2 down, but the Phillies still have the inning going.
Dykstra's at second with 2 outs, and Hollins up here 0 for 1, taking ball 1. Hollins driving a ball high into the air to deep left center, and there's no question about this. It is a 2-run home run to tie the game. Dave Hollins with number 18.
Now that shows you how important it was to have Lenny Dykstra on the move. A hanging curveball by Rueter. The first time up, he got Hollins to fly out on a slow curve. This time, Hollins was waiting. Not only was it a slow hook, it was in a bad place, and Hollins hits it out of the park. That's a long home run here at Olympic Stadium.
So Hollins with his 18th home run of the year. He now has 86 RBIs. It's the 151st home run of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. Dalton drives the ball, sending Walker back, and that's the end of the 3rd. The Phils tie it on the Hollins home run. 2-2 as we go to the bottom half of the inning. You're watching Expos Baseball on TSN.
Well, here's a look at the way the Phillies jumped off to that quick start. 17-5 in April. In May, they were just as tough, 17-10. Then in June, and a total 52-25. Now, I really thought this year with the 2 new expansion teams coming in, and with your losing some games against common opponents, now the Expos certainly would love 5 more games against the Phillies this year, but they're only going to play them 13 times as opposed to 18 as they had in the past. So the Phillies getting off to that great start. And they haven't played quite as well going down the stretch here since August 21st. You can see what the Expos have done. The Phillies at 12-14. And the ERAs, well, the Philly pitching slowing down a bit as well. But that fast start by manager Jim Fragosi's Philadelphia Phillies has really shown up in the latter stages of the divisional race.
Larry Walker to lead it off. They're here from McGill today. Walker drives the ball high into the air to right center. Dykstra is back. 1 away in the 3rd. Following the ball game, we'll select the player of the game for the Expos on behalf of Sanyo. Sanyo's Super Commander 3 static-free technology, now available on a cordless answering system. Playback or screen calls anywhere. It's like having an answering machine in the handset. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of that player and Sanyo. Barry up. Got a gift hit from the official score and drove in a run in the 1st inning on a bouncing ball to Duncan with 2 outs in the 1st inning. Grissom scored from 3rd when Duncan bobbled the ball. And Barry was given a hit by the scorer. Ball 1, no strikes. If you're wondering how the Expos and the Phillies have done against the expansion teams, the Phils 15-7 and the Expos 14-7. The Phils had a one-game advantage right now in the win column, and both teams have games left.
So basically,
with Florida.
Yeah, so basically they've each won 2 out of 3 against the expansion teams, and that's what you're supposed to do, if not better than that.
Phils have a 3-game series left with Florida. The Expos have a 4-game series left with the Marlins. One and 2 to Sean Berry. Danny Jackson for the Phils today. Puts Sean Berry away, and that's the first strikeout of the afternoon for Jackson, who got behind 2-0 and saw his third baseman hit a home run to tie the game at 2. That's where we are in the third. Here's Cordero, who walked his first time up.
Here's last night. This is a 3-2 pitch with 2 men on. You can see how the pitch is kind of down, and Cordero, as I said, hits the high pitch better for distance, and that's Ruben Amaro Jr. running out of real estate in left field. And that brought the Expos within 1 run. They could get no closer, as David West and then Mitch Williams came out of the bullpen to relieve Tommy Green and shut the Expos down from there.
It was Cordero's 9th home run of the year. Cordero, who will turn 22 on the next to last day of the regular season, takes up high. Has hit as many as 13 home runs as a pro. That was in 1990 at Double-A. So he's been in double figures twice in the minors. He hit 11 at Triple-A in 1991, and he could hit double figures with the Expos. Two and 2 the count on Cordero.
When you look at Will, and we know he has struggled. He's tied the team record for errors, but you figure at 21 years old and playing a pressure position like shortstop, he'll get better in the field. But offensively, I think he's done a pretty good job. 50 RBIs out of your shortstop position is nothing to laugh at. I think that he'll get even better than that, and maybe 1 year or so he'll have 80 RBIs. Because he does have some power, and I believe he's going to get stronger.
2 down. Two and 2 on Cordero. Half swing fouled off at the plate. The top RBI man the Expos have ever had at shortstop, of course, was Hubie Brooks. Hubie has played in the majors, of course, as an outfielder and as a third baseman, and we could debate whether or not Hubie was a legitimate shortstop, but the fact is he had a good year playing at shortstop for the Expos, driving in 100 runs in 1985. That's all for Cordero and the Expos, who go in order, and at the end of 3, a 2-2 tie. You're watching Expos baseball on TSN. We'll get this update from Chris Stevens.
Back to Olympic Stadium in just a moment. First, let's check out what's going on in the American League East Division pennant race right now. The Toronto Blue Jays in action against the Minnesota Twins. This game at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Pick it up top of the first inning. 2 on and nobody out for Paul Molitor, but he grounds to short for the 6-4-3 double play. The next batter is Joe Carter. Carter lines a single to right field. Devon White comes home to score. That made it 1-0 Toronto. And that's the way it stands right now at the Metrodome. The Jays up on the Twins 1-0. They're playing in the second inning. Okay, next, let's check in at Yankee Stadium. Frank Tanana on the mound, making his debut against the Red Sox for the Yankees. Boston jumps out in front. Top of the second inning, that's John Valentin. Pulls a double down the left field line. Rob Deere comes around to score on the play. That made it 1-0 Red Sox. Boston has added another run, and so has New York. It stands at 2-1. Boston leading this game. 4th inning action at Yankee Stadium. And the other contender, Baltimore, 5 back coming into action today. Right now, they are scoreless in the first inning against the Milwaukee Brewers. One game in the CFL this afternoon at Skydome in Toronto. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are up on the Argos 6-4. That's in the second quarter. Later tonight, it is Sacramento playing at Saskatchewan. And Nigel Mansell won today's IndyCar race at Nazareth in Pennsylvania. And with that, he wins the driver's title. Let's go back to Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Gentlemen.
All right, Chris. Wes Chamberlain will lead it off here in the 4th inning for the Philadelphia Phillies. Kirk Rueter on the mound. And a 2-0 lead. Phil's erased it on the Hollins home run in the last inning. And here's Chamberlain, then Amaro, and then Stocker. Fouled away off to the right. Kirk Rueter graduated from high school, went on to Murray State University, and even though he signed professionally, he continued his college education and graduated in 1992 from Murray State in Kentucky. 1-1 the count. So it tells you something about the makeup of the young man. Perseverance, looks ahead, is willing to invest in his own future.
You find more and more players nowadays coming through the college programs and baseball teams and schools with excellent reputations for baseball, primarily in the southern tier of states of Texas, Florida, of course, California, Arizona. But baseball programs in the colleges have really picked up, and a lot of heavy scouting in that area. And some teams have philosophies about picking college players as opposed to players that just come out of high school.
A lot of scouts feel that the players have their feet on the ground after college experience. I am particularly impressed with those who not only attend but who graduate. And we all know what the power of money can be like. Chamberlain is called out on strikes. That's the first strikeout for Kirk Rueter. It'll bring Amaro to the plate.
Everything had been away, and then he freezes him on a pitch on the inner half. But you can see that Tim Spear did not have to move the glove very much, and that's Gary Darling with the emphatic strikeout call.
The amount of money that's paid, particularly in the top few rounds of the draft now, to lure players away from the college program to get them into the pros. And it's a lot of money. 2 down. Stocker will bat. And we're talking in some cases the first round players well over $1 million, upwards of $1.5 million.
It's hard to turn down.
Sure, $500,000, $750,000 being offered to a collegiate player, 20, 21 years old. So when you see the players who stay with the college program and graduate, even if they have signed, but who stay with both baseball and their academic program, I think it's a testimony to their makeup. Curtis Pride is another example, who told the Mets, I'm going to remain in school at the College of William and Mary, and I'm going to get my degree.
And he graduated, and the player who just made it out, Ruben Amaro Jr., graduated from Stanford University.
A fly ball to left. Here comes Rondell White. He won't get to it over there at the foul line, and Stocker's on his way to second, and he'll make it, standing with a double. The Expos pitched around Stocker with a runner in scoring position in the second. They pitched to him here, and he has a double. That's the 5th hit allowed by Kirk Rueter, and it brings the pitcher Danny Jackson to the plate.
Now, Stocker did not hit this ball well. It kind of gets in on well, maybe off the end of the bat. And the reason why it didn't carry, and Rondell White couldn't get to it, because it wasn't solidly hit.
Jackson lines the ball right to Randy Reddy. No runs, a hit, a runner left, and at the end of 3.5, we're tied at 2. This is Expos Baseball on TSN.
Please.
I didn't always have good hair days. You know, healthy looking, shiny. There were times when it was dry and dull, I admit it. Then I got into Pantene Pro V Treatment Shampoo Plus Conditioner.
It's the only shampoo with Pantene's Pro Vitamin B5 formula that penetrates deep down, improving your hair, making it healthier looking and brilliantly shiny. Pantene Pro V makes your hair look so healthy, it shines.
Try it, and you can expect good hair days, too.
Ken, I think most of the fans who follow the teams closely are pretty familiar with all of those numbers, and perhaps the one that stands out more to the Phillies than any other is that magic number of 10. A lot of clubs, you get it down to the 19th of September, a lot of clubs feel pretty good when that magic number is inside of 5. Ooh, it's still 10 for the Phillies. So there it is, Expos 5 back. Now, how do the Expos feel about it? In particular, how does manager Felipe Alou feel about the situation?
Well, we like to win the game. Of course, we want to win every game. Very important game today. If we come back to four game different, we have a real good shot of winning. If we go to 6, then we're really going to have to win almost the remaining game. So a very important game today for us and also for the Phillies.
And so the Expos and the Phillies are tied here at 2 in the 4th. Randy Reddy is 0 for 1.
If you mentioned the score tied today, I haven't heard anybody mention the possibility of a tie at the end of the regular season. Nobody has mentioned it. I know in the American League they've already taken care of that with coin flips, but they haven't done it in the National League. The Giants won the flip in the Western Division. So if there is a tie, the playoff game will be played at Candlestick Park.
Braves up by 3, magic number 12. And again, the Braves playing here on TSN tonight. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 o'clock, the Mets and the Braves. Foul ball back to the right. San Francisco's pitching former Expo Scott Sanderson against the Cincinnati Reds this afternoon. Two balls and 2 strikes to Randy Reddy.
Let's look at Randy Reddy. His year started off, had a chance to make the Kansas City Ball Club out of spring training, but was released. He went home for about 5 weeks and considered his baseball future. He lives in California and decided to sign on in the minor leagues, although he had not been in the minors since the mid-'80s. So he gets the Orioles Ball Club at AAA at Rochester, but he had a clause in his contract that could continue to negotiate with the major league clubs. If he could get a shot, they would have to let him go. And the Expos called, and Randy Reddy is here.
A fly ball, and in left, Ruben Amaro. 1 down in the 4th inning. And the catcher, Tim Spear, comes up. He singled to open up the 2nd and scored run number 2 for the Expos. Danny Jackson for the Phillies today. We told you earlier, 12 and 10, pitched a complete, last pitched a complete game in July against Pittsburgh. So you have to figure that somewhere along the line, whether the game is tied or what, the bullpens are going to be a factor today. They've been a major factor in this series to date. One ball and 1 strike on Spear. Last time out, Danny Jackson faced the Mets and lost, had a lead. Then the Phils made a couple of errors. Mets scored some unearned runs, and turn the game around and beat Jackson. 1-2.
Here's a look at the motion of Danny Jackson. Watch how he uses his lower body, really drops and drives. And when he's pitching well, that left knee really has a lot of dirt on it where he makes contact with the ground. I remember a pitcher, and Dave, you certainly do too, who used that pitching style to get him to the Hall of Fame, Tom Seaver.
Yeah, if Seaver was having trouble on the mound, he would look down at his knee and see how much dirt was on the knee. If there was very little dirt, he knew then that he wasn't pitching properly, that he wasn't following through and delivering the ball the way he normally would deliver the ball.
Look at the left knee of Danny Jackson.
He just about slams the whole lower leg right down on the ground.
It looks more like he's been sliding into bases rather than pitching. If we can get him to turn around. Come on, Danny, here you go. That's it. Looks like he's been sliding in the second, trying to steal a bag.
Yep.
And that's exactly the way Tom Seaver's right knee looked.
One ball and 2 strikes. The count on Tim Spear. Play for Stocker. Spear is out, 2 down in the 4th inning, and Kirk Rueter will bat. And Danny Jackson starting to settle into a groove, has retired 6 in a row since the DeShields double in the 2nd. Had a rough start through 10 consecutive balls before throwing a strike today and walked Grissom and DeShields. And of course, Marquis scored the first run. Rueter with nobody on. Ball 1. Hollins at third. And Jackson gets him again. 1-2-3. Nothing for the Expos here. On to the 5th in a 2-2 tie. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
You see great scoring plays on TSN. And you could score a great Caribbean vacation with Brute Sport. Win one of 6 trips for 2 to the Royal Antiguan Renaissance Resort with Brute Sport and Lawton's Drugs. This week, visit Lawton's and pick up your entry form and instant savings coupon. You could score a great Caribbean vacation with Brute Sport.
When stress takes its toll, wouldn't it be great to have your very own personal masseuse to soothe and relieve tension? TheraFX presents the Pro Shiatsu Personal Massager. Unlike vibrating massagers that only rub the surface, Pro Shiatsu simulates the kneading action of a real masseuse, sending penetrating waves of energy to relieve pain, stress, and sore muscles. Use it on your feet, lower back, calves, and thighs. Imagine getting a relaxing massage at the office, or take it along to the gym. There's nothing that soothes, relaxes, and relieves aches and pains like the Pro Shiatsu Massager. A professional masseuse can charge up to $50 per hour, and catalogs have advertised similar units for as much as $200. Now you can order the Pro Shiatsu Massager for 3 easy payments of $43. Order now.
Don't be fooled by imitations. To order Pro Shiatsu, call 1-800-257-3337. We'll bill your credit card 3 monthly payments of $43 plus shipping and handling. Order your Pro Shiatsu for 3 monthly payments. Call now. 1-800-257-3337.
The Philadelphia lineup card is unchanged since the start of the game, and here in inning number 5 in a tie ball game, we'll see Dykstra, Duncan, and Krug. And as you can see, Dykstra's 2 for 2. He scored ahead of Hollins on the home run ball in the 3rd inning, and he is the guy the Expos have to keep from scoring. Toronto with a 1-0 3rd inning lead. Guzman against Tremblay. Boston leading 2-1 at Yankee Stadium. Darwin against Tanana. Baltimore and Milwaukee scoreless. Arthur Rhodes for the Orioles today. Jaime Navarro for the Brewers. We told you Toronto has the 3-game lead on the Yankees. Chicago leads Texas by 3.5 in the West. So Kevin Kennedy's Rangers are in a pretty good position too. They'll have Kenny Rogers tonight going against Joe McGrain out at Anaheim. They'll make it later this afternoon. 4 o'clock Eastern. So Ken, you were talking about the possibility of a coin toss, which has already taken place in the West.
Yeah, and the Giants won it. So if there is a tie in the Western Division, the Giants will get to play that playoff game at Candlestick Park.
The National League office has advised the Expos, and we've just learned this, that if the Expos win today, they're called strike. If the Expos win today, there will be a coin toss tomorrow to determine the site of the 1-game playoff should the Expos and the Phillies finish tied.
They must be looking for the coin because a few weeks ago they had no idea that this might happen.
I think that's probably. Have you noticed the last couple of weeks there have been very few fines handed out by Bill White? He hasn't really been collecting a whole lot of money the last couple of weeks. Low on change, couldn't hold the coin toss.
I don't think Bill White carries the type of money that jingle jangles in your pocket. I think it folds.
They do the coin toss, of course, during a conference telephone call.
So it's got to be, you got to believe the person.
Here's a fly ball to right. Walker back. Dykstra's there. Mariano Duncan will bat. He's 0 for 2.
Oh, Lenny hit the ball well. And let's see what kind of method this person is using for there's 9-LO. That means line out. The ball was hit pretty well. I'll give him the line out.
Duncan up here 0 for 2. Kirk Rueter delivers to Duncan, who swings and misses. Duncan with a 17-game hitting streak.
Yeah, this is the not the first time that Duncan has been out in front on the pitch, and you can see he's having trouble waiting. It's almost as if he's going to have to guess that pitch one time, much in the same way that Hollins did.
1-2 the count.
Now the fastball up, and he's late on this and goes around too far. So he was out in front of the changeup, then he started to wait, and the fastball upstairs he started to swing at and couldn't get to it. So he's been in between.
Foul back, the veteran Mariano Duncan playing over the younger Mickey Morandini, who hasn't hit much. And Morandini also a left-handed batter. A drive toward right center, and that ball is in the gap. Walker gets to it. Duncan is in at second base. That is really not an easy throw to make because Walker's going away from the play.
It's hard to get something on the throw, and the gap was in right center field between Walker and Grissom, and Duncan almost parted it. The speed of Larry Walker cuts the ball off, and as you can see, he has to put on the brakes, stop, and then throw. And Duncan has the type of speed who can make a double out of that just about every time.
Duncan with his 24th double, extending his batting streak to 18 games. Ball 1 1 to John Kruk. The longest hitting streak in the National League this year is 21 games. 2 players, including Delino DeShields. The other, Robbie Thompson. In the American League and the majors, a 26-game streak by John Olerud. Kruk looking bad on that pitch, and the count is 1-1.
It's more like a big helicopter blade going around. Look at Kruk and woo, the whirly bird. Another off-speed pitch that's effective.
Looked like one of the swings against Randy Johnson in the All-Star game. Except on this swing, Kruk had both feet in the batter's box. 2 balls and a strike to John Kruk, who's bounced out twice. Fastball missed. Now 3-2, a full count.
Well, you mentioned the Philly hitters going deep into the count, drawing a lot of walks. John Kruk among the league leaders in base on balls. And what that does, it makes the other pitcher work. Make him throw strikes. Make him use up his pitch total as quickly as possible. And when you go deep into the count, several hitters on your ball club able to do it. The other pitcher is up to that 70 pitch mark before you know it.
A check swing roller to the left side. Berry has it. Throws to first. Duncan stayed at second. With Berry making the fielding play, Rueter ran over and covered third to ensure that Duncan would stay at second base.
Yeah, he is a fine fielder, and fielding means you have to back up bases and sometimes protect your teammates. You see Kruk with the check swing. Berry has to make the play. Looks at Duncan at second. You can see Rueter now coming over to third. Heads up play by the Expos pitcher. And what we're seeing with Rueter is a complete package in a pitcher. He knows what he's doing out there, and certainly experience beyond his lack of experience in the major leagues.
Now let's see what he does with Dave Hollins, who the last time up crunched a 2-run homer. Duncan at second with 2 down. Hollins 1 for 2 on the afternoon. We're tied up at 2. Two balls, no strikes. Hollins has hit 8 home runs batting right-handed, 10 homers left-handed on the year. .3-0 the count on Hollins.
Now Hollins, of course, is a switch hitter. Dalton on deck is a left-handed hitter.
And Hollins got nothing to pitch this time around. That's just like an intentional walk. It's the second walk given up by Kirk Rueter, and it brings Dalton to the plate. Now he doubled over the bag at third in the second, and he flied out to right field in the third.
But the major difference here is that while Hollins is a switch hitter, he's hitting .322 against left-handed pitching. Dalton just over 200 against lefties. So while Dalton still is dangerous and you have to make pitches to him to get him out, he might be easier to deal with in this situation.
Felipe Alou along with bench coach Tim Johnson, and to the near side, our right, just sitting down there, Luis Pujols, the first base coach. We'll have a timeout for just a moment. An exuberant fan on the field. We will not indulge his interest and give you the shots. But the security people have made a pretty good takedown. And speaking of tackles and takedowns, check out NFL Primetime. Makes its season premiere on TSN tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern.
Now, Felipe is looking over towards the other dugout to manager Jim Fregosi. Yeah, we've had a streaker run onto the field here. We're not going to show it, of course, but Felipe is looking over at Jim Fregosi and signaling to the Philly manager. Yeah, this is baseball. Pennant Race baseball, and the manager's getting a laugh.
The security people, after surrounding the streaker, first of all they tackled him, and then after surrounding him, they of course did the decent thing. They made him get dressed again. The streaker carried his clothes with him across the field.
And does this guy know that you know, the seasons are changing here? This is not the time of year to be running around like this. Kind of reminds me of the days of Jerry Park. Remember that?
Sure do. You said what? The seasons are changing?
Yeah.
Looked like a short season. We're ready to resume play. I mean, the security people took care of it quickly.
Yeah, they did. As they usually do here.
One ball, one strike to Dalton. Two balls and a strike. Phils and Expos tied at 2 in the 5th inning. Philadelphia's out-hit Montreal 6-3 so far. Dalton with a good cut on the fastball, but a foul ball back. So pretty good location for Rueter. The final regular season meeting between the Expos and the Phillies. Three and two. Ball is hit in the air to left, and it's going to drop in. Duncan's going to score the go-ahead run. The Phillies take a 3-2 lead. And I thought when that ball was first hit that had Rondell gotten a good break and come in on it, he would have caught the ball. It didn't turn out that way.
Well, I mentioned Dalton is still dangerous despite the fact he hasn't hit as well against left-hand pitching. He gets jammed, not really the best of hits, but once again he gets the job done. Fighting it off, and Rondell somewhat tentative on that ball. He laid back and let the ball fall in front of him. And I think it's his apprehension about playing on artificial surface, not wanting anything to bounce over his head.
Two down, runners at first and second, and the Phillies up by a run. Chamberlain.
Yeah, we're used to seeing aggressive play in all three outfield positions by the Expo outfielders, and I think it's just the rookie not knowing artificial surface, not many games on the turf, and ball drops in for a base hit.
Well, Felipe Alou mentioned to you in talking about the absence of Moises Alou how much he has missed in left field. Moises Alou puts that ball in his back pocket. One ball, one strike to Chamberlain. One and one. Well, the best post-operative news concerning Alou, Ken, was the fact that Dr. Coughlin expects Moises to be ready to go full steam at the start of spring training, and that was really good news. I think many of us felt that there was a good chance after watching the injury. There was a good chance that it would be well into the season before Alou would be ready, but to have the repairs made and to know that he's already on the comeback trail was just great news. And I think that carries that feeling carries well from the fans, from the ball players, certainly from his dad and the coaches.
Well, I think we all know that the type of player that Mo is and how he has worked so hard to become a great player in this league, that he'll do anything and work just as hard to get back into shape to play again. Simple as that.
Well, he's been there before. Following shoulder surgery and out an entire season. And compared to missing an entire season while rehabbing, this might be a lot easier for Moises Alou. Phillies grinding it out here in the 5th inning. 1 run so far to break the tie. Barry flags one and it goes by. The Phils score Hollins from 3rd. And so the Expos not getting a couple of plays made. 1 in left and now 1 at 3rd. And Chamberlain, although he hit the ball hard, comes up with a hit and a run batted in.
This is one of those do-or-die plays for Barry. He has to get the glove down just in the right spot, and you can see it comes up over the turf over his glove for a base hit. I just showed you where this inning has lasted quite a long time. Kind of reminds me of a long drive by a football team down the field to score, and the Phillies have scored a few times in this inning.
Kirk Rueter trying to find his way out of this 5th inning. And I think he may have had a little bit of a letdown after the pitch to Dalton. I think Rueter made a good pitch to Dalton and probably felt when the ball left the bat that he was out of the inning. And Joe Kerrigan out to talk to him, and left-hander Brian Barnes goes to work in the Expos bullpen. 91 pitches now here into the 5th inning for Kirk Rueter. And the Expos won't go a whole lot further with Rueter than that. As a matter of fact, they're giving him an opportunity to get out of this inning so that he'll be the pitcher of record when the Expos come to bat in the bottom half of the inning. But we're seeing Rueter work his last inning. Oh, and 1. Rueter has pitched more innings this season than any season as a pro or an amateur. Foul back out of play. 0-2 on Amaro, who has bounced to the mound and fouled out to first rather.
Yeah, one thing Felipe and Joe Kerrigan are very good about and very concerned about, they protect the young arms on the ball club. And very rarely do you see an Expo pitcher get overextended in a game. They're always looking forward to that next start. And certainly a lot of concern about Rueter in this year, his innings pitched. Now here's a guy who's going to be a valuable part of the rotation next year and for years to come.
Ball and 2 strikes. And now Joe Kerrigan goes out along with assistant trainer Mike Kozak. And Rueter is having a problem with his right leg. And here is Alou. And so that might do it right there.
It looks like it. Well, they're going to let him throw a few, and let's watch his follow-through and see if there's any indication of a problem here. Yep, right there. Either the knee or in the area around it.
So we'll watch carefully on this delivery. 2 outs, 2 on, the 1 and 2. Ground ball, and a diving Cordero can't come up with it. That's going to score the run for the Phillies, and it's 5-2. That was a very big hit for Philadelphia and for Ruben Amaro.
Just out of the reach of Will Cordero. It's a pitch up out over the plate. And watch Cordero underneath his glove. In fact, he got a piece of it. So we've had 2 balls just elude Expo gloves in the infield, and they both lead to runs.
So that's going to be it for Kirk Rueter. There's Cordero trying to come up with it, and Rueter comes out of the ball game. A 3-run 5th inning for the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Expos saw a 2-0 lead go down, and they've seen the Phillies come back and score 5. 5-2 Philadelphia here in the 5th, and Kevin Stocker will be the batter. Brian Barnes takes over on the mound for the Expos. The runners for the Phillies belong to Rueter, so his record is not complete. This pitching change is brought to you by Black & Decker's serious do-it-yourself line of power tools. You'll never outgrow them.
With 12 amps of power, nothing stops Black & Decker's new circular saw with auto stop, except an electric brake. From the serious do-it-yourself line of power tools, you'll never outgrow them.
5-2 Phillies. They've scored 3 here in the 5th to chase starter Kirk Rueter. And Brian Barnes has come on to pitch to Kevin Stocker with 2 outs. Barnes making his 48th appearance.
Barnes pitched in the opening game of this series, pitched 2 strong innings in relief, allowed just 1 hit to Philadelphia. That was in the ball game on Friday night that the Expos won 8-7 in 12 innings. One of the most exciting ball games I've ever seen. And Brian did a good job along with the rest of the bullpen. And that was the last time that Barnes worked in a game.
And Kirk Rueter looks on. Denny Boucher to our left, his right. John Wetland to the near side. Rueter disappointed. Stocker doubled his last time up. Told you about Stocker breaking in his first game with the Phillies, the first major league game. July 7th, they played 20 innings. He played every inning at shortstop. Phils beat the Dodgers. 20-inning ball game. He did not get his first major league hit in that game. He got it in the next game against the Giants. July 8th. Got his first major league hit off Bill Swift. Here's a pop-up behind the plate. Spear looking. Barnes takes care of Stocker. Phils get 3 and have a 5-2 lead here in the 5th. This is Expos baseball on TSN. Checking out the Expos lineup card as they come to bat in the bottom of the 5th inning. The only change, of course, is in the 9th spot in the order, where Brian Barnes is now hitting and in the game to pitch. Top of the order coming up here, Grissom, DeShields, and White, and the Expos down by 3. Danny Jackson for the Phillies today. 0-1 this year, 3-4 lifetime against the Expos. Kirk Rueter now out of the game, having thrown 96 pitches and 4 2/3 innings of work. Grissom walked and scored in the first, grounded out in the second.
Well, the Phillies were busy scoring 3 times in the 5th inning. Danny Jackson, of course, was sitting there for about 20 minutes. He didn't. 25 to be exact.
And a smash to left, a base hit for Marquise.
So let's see what happens here after the long delay for the Philly left-handers. Here's a look at it. This pitch is almost in the middle of the plate. Hollins with a good try, but into left field for a base hit. Now Jackson might be thinking that, you know, all I have to do now is get out. So throw the ball. If the Expos hit it, fine. But I think that, you know, even with a 3-run lead, you have to still go for corners and make good pitches instead of feeling comfortable with somewhat of a lead. It could disappear in a hurry.
DeShields has walked and doubled. Ball 1 and no strikes to Delino. Double play depth on the infield, and the third baseman Hollins plays in. Ball 2. Jackson started out this game with some control problems. Now here in the 5th, the inning of decision. A single to Grissom, 2-0 on DeShields.
Delino knows the tying run is in the on-deck circle, so he's going to be trying to get himself on base and taking pitches.
Ball 3 and no strikes. Rondell White is on deck. Delino DeShields is on base. Ball 4. Grissom goes to second. And the rookie Rondell White comes to the plate. Rondell White had an RBI single against the Phillies in the 6th inning here Friday night. Expos winning game 1. What a ball game that was. 12 innings, 8-7 Expos. A line drive base hit into the gap in left center. Grissom will score. DeShields will score. White is at second. 5-4, Phillies by 1.
Well, once again, Danny Jackson comes middle, and Rondell White makes him pay. This ball is scorched to the gap in left center field. Amaro's going to run it down, but with the speed on the bases, the Expos pick up 2 runs easily.
The rookie had another way to go. Jackson had just walked Delino DeShields. The rookie could have said, well, I'll sit back and take some pitches, but he was ready for a pitch over the plate, got it, and drilled it into the gap.
Yeah, Dave, you're right about that, because sometimes pitchers have a tendency when they walk somebody, the next pitch is right there to hit, like it's placed on a tee.
A 2-run double for the rookie Rondell White. Nobody out. 5-4, Phils by 1. Larry Walker out. A late swing and a miss. Strike 1. Roger Mason up in the Philadelphia bullpen. Ground ball to the right side. Duncan, the throw to first. The tying run is at third with 1 out.
Walker got the job done, moving Rondell White to third. Well, let's see how the Phillies are going to play this defensively. That's big Roger Mason warming up in the bullpen.
Sean Berry is 1 for 2.
Manager Jim Fregosi here on Sunday afternoon in Montreal, wondering if this is going to be another Friday night.
Ball 1, no strikes. Two balls and no strikes. Phillies are back at shortstop and at second base. Hollins is in tight at third base. Struck even with the bag at first. 3-0 on Berry. What would Fregosi's thinking being here defensively?
Well, with the infield back, I would think, of course, they're conceding the run on the ground ball. Even Hollins has moved back on the count 3-0. So they're going to give up the tying run.
A walk to Berry. Five walks issued by Danny Jackson. Here comes Jim Fregosi, and on this afternoon in September in the pennant race with the Phillies ahead, Jackson is going to be taken out of the game and he can't win.
And manager Jim Fregosi forced to go to the bullpen, and you know, on Friday night the bullpen didn't do the job. Yesterday or last night they did. So Danny Jackson with an early departure. As I mentioned, he was the first one to show up at the ballpark and be on the field today, and he's one of the earliest to leave.
Veteran right-hander Roger Mason in the game. The pitching change is brought to you by Midas. For brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service, trust your car to Midas.
You can't always hear an exhaust problem. Even a hole this size in your exhaust system can seriously affect your car's performance. Come to Midas for a fast, free inspection of your exhaust. Trust your exhaust to Midas.
Veteran right-hander Roger Mason picked up by the Phillies from the Padres in a trade on the 3rd of July. He was 0-7 at San Diego, but he's 4-4 with the Phillies. Second in their bullpen all of a sudden in wins.
Former Pittsburgh Pirate as well. Mason has bounced around quite a bit of late. While he's with the Pirates, every once in a while he would get a start, but mainly out of the bullpen.
Danny Jackson out of the game, has a 1-run lead but can't win. Did not go the necessary 5. He went 4 1/3. Rondell White spoiled things for him with a 2-run double into the gap in left center. And the batter will be Will Cordero, who walked in the first inning and popped up in the 3rd inning. Cordero hit his 3-run homer last night off right-hander Tommy Green that narrowed the gap to 5-4. The Expos could not tie the game up or pull it out, although they made a run at it against Mitch Williams in the 9th. Berry at first base, White at third base. 1 away. Mason's pitch. A strike. In addition to Kirk Rueter coming out of the ball game, we also saw him injure his right leg. You'll recall we had the replay of that pitch on which he got hurt. It's a strained right hamstring.
season, the Phillies were having all kinds of problems with their middle relief. The starting pitchers lead the league in complete games. And it was almost as if manager Jim Fregosi didn't want to go to that bullpen until he got to at least Mitch Williams' turn to come in the game. So Roger Mason comes over in a deal from the Padres to help try and straighten things out. Here's the pitch low.
Now they rebuilt their bullpen with Mason, Thigpen, and Paul. Two balls and a strike to Cordero. A smash to third and a double play. Cordero rips a liner to Hollins, who gets the unassisted double play, and the Expos are through. 2 runs, 2 hits, and 1 was left on base. That's a big defensive play, isn't it? Now at the end of 5, a 1-run game, Phillies ahead. This is Expos Baseball on TSN. Another update with Chris Stevens.
Back to Olympic Stadium for 6th inning action in just a moment. First, let's update again what's going on in the American League East Division race today. Toronto playing at Minnesota. This game in Minneapolis. This game turns into a pitching duel. Mike Tremblay ends the first inning by striking out John Olerud, and he totally fools Pat Borders. The infields have to dodge Borders' bat. But Juan Guzman is strong for the Jays as well. Here he will strike out Scott Stahoviak, and Toronto leads it 1-0. That's the way it stands right now in the 5th inning at the Metrodome. Let's move on now to Yankee Stadium. Red Sox with the bases loaded against the Yanks, and Rob Deere checks his swing. Watch Don Mattingly make the great diving catch on the foul pop-up. Mattingly reaches out, pulls it in. Great defense by Mattingly. Top of the 4th now. Jeff McNeely bunts. It looks like he hits him out of the batter's box. He is originally called out, but then the call is reversed. Buck Showalter loses it. He gets tossed, and he decides he's going to toss the ump as well. Yanks trail 4-1. New York has added a run. It's now 4-2 in the 7th inning. Boston up on New York, so Boston able to give Toronto a huge favor with a win today if they can hold on. 5th inning action is Baltimore up on Milwaukee. That is 4-2. In the CFL, Winnipeg trails Toronto 18-13 at Skydome. Now let's return to Olympic Stadium in Montreal. More of the Phils and the Expos.
The Phillies come to bat here, leading by a run, 5-4. Brian Barnes came on in relief in the last inning, and he is still in there. Roger Mason is going to stay in too, and he'll bat to lead off the inning before we go to the top of the order, and Dykstra and Duncan. Roger Mason. He's got 5 at-bats in for the year. He's 1 for 5 with the Phillies, 1 out of 2. So he got traded from the Padres to the Phils, became a .500 hitter. Two strikes on Mason.
Pretty good hook by Brian Barnes. Now Barnes' job, of course, is to hold the Phillies down and give the Expos offense a chance to score some more runs. They're right back in this game at 5-4.
Ooh. 1 down. The first strikeout for Barnes. Len Dykstra's 2 out of 3. Scored a run in the 3rd inning.
Dykstra's hit the ball hard 3 times in this game. Singled twice and lined out the right field, so he has been locked in. But his first look at Brian Barnes, he was locked in on Kirk Rueter.
Barnes missing low and outside. Ball 1. Well, after the Expos scored 2 to narrow the gap to 1, the fans have quieted down now again. The 1-0 pitch. Spear looking back behind the plate for this pop-up near the screen, and that ball's caught by Tim Spear, but it is no catch because the ball hit either the speaker or the guy wire or touched the screen, and we'll have to check out the replay to see what the ball hit. But Spear got under that and made the catch, but the plate umpire Gary Darling indicated right away no catch. So the ball hit something, and it had disappeared from our view up high. So it was either a speaker, the guy wire that holds up the screen, or it brushed the screen. Dykstra still up there, 1-1. Fouled away, back out of play. There you see the speakers that hang from the roof on those wires up above the area behind home plate, and that pop foul might have it hit something. We just don't know what. One and two pitch coming up to Dykstra.
Now Dykstra, a hitter that knows the strike zone backwards and forwards, up and down, in and out. You don't draw as many walks as he has, leading the league, and not take close pitches. That last one was very close. He had another one during this at bat that was particularly close, but just out of the zone. Look out.
That is a foul ball. Now this, see, we had one mystery play already in the inning on the pop foul that was caught by Spear that was not a catch. Now we've got this foul ball. There it is. Fastball right in on the bat.
You know you're going good when you make this kind of contact while you're trying to get out of the way. Got his head out of the way, but not the lumber.
Two balls, two strikes. Dykstra at age 30 now in his 9th year. Broke in with the Mets in 1985. That's all for Dykstra. Barnes really did a job on Dykstra, didn't he?
Here comes the breaking ball, and Dykstra gives up on it, but it catches the corner for call strike 3. Good pitch by Bryant.
And so many times it's that fastball up and in, the one that fouled off Dykstra's bat when he tried to get out of the way, and then the breaking ball away. But Barnes came back in with the breaking ball. Pretty interesting sequence of pitches and 2 outs. Ball 1 to Duncan. 1 out of 3, doubled and scored in the 5th. Inning number 6, 5-4 Phillies. First 2 games of this series were 1-run ball games. The Expos in 12, 8-7 Friday night. The Phillies last night, 5-4. Two and 1 on Duncan, who extended his batting streak to 18 games with that double.
Oh, each team picking up a victory in a 1-run variety, and I guess that's just what you expected to see in this weekend series. Some close, tightly fought ball games.
A soft line drive just over Reddy's glove. Walker with the throw, and the play at second, safe. Good effort by Walker, a good effort by Duncan.
Yeah, and Frank Pulley was right there to make the call. Pulley was down on one knee, getting a close look at the tail end of this play. Larry, with the spin move out of the corner, how many times have we seen that? The throw is accurate just a little bit to the outfield side. You can see Duncan getting in there.
Good throw, good base running, good call. 2 down, Duncan at second. John Kruk is the batter.
But Duncan's been on fire with the bat.
Six hits in this series now,
including 4 doubles.
Two outs. Kruk up here with 3 ground balls to show for the day so far. Kruk has 78 runs batted in this year.
Well, that pitch was going one way and Kruk was going the other. That curveball really had him ducking out of the way. Whew. There was a reason for moving on that one. This is where you can almost smell that cowhide coming right underneath the nose there.
Two balls and a strike to Kruk.
Yeah, this Philly lineup is loaded with tough hitter after tough hitter. You go through these first 5, and you know, even Wes Chamberlain in the number 6 spot, that first 6 can do an awful lot of damage.
Yeah, there's very little room to pitch around anyone in the Philly lineup. Hollins is on deck. Three balls and a strike. Now Kruk draws a walk. Phillies are at first and second, and Barnes has to contend with Hollins, who has hit a 2-run home run. That was back in the 3rd. Walked and scored his last time up in the last inning. Phillies lead by 1, and here is Hollins again. Switch hitter batting right against Barnes. One strike to Hollins. One of the reasons the fans have gotten so quiet, they realize the importance of Barnes shutting down the Phillies in this inning. The Expos just came up with that big hit from the rookie Rondell White to pull to within 1, and it is almost imperative that Barnes shut the Phillies down here in the 6th. One pitch to Hollins. Off the outside corner, Hollins disagreed with the plate umpire, Gary Darling.
Well, let's check it out. Tim Spears sitting on the corner. Does he have to reach much? Maybe a hair. Well, watch him hold the glove there. Give Gary Darling a good look at that corner and where the glove was, and he thought it was a strike.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking pitch low.
That pitch had such good break on it that if it was in the zone, I don't think Hollins was going to hit it. That was a tremendous hook.
Barnes on the field is a very intense pitcher. Hollins is one of the most intense players in the league. This is a good matchup. Barnes has struck out 3 in the inning. The Phillies have left 2. They lead by 1. And you're watching Expos Baseball on TSN.
Done that, did that. Been there, tried that. Done it. Did it. Done it. Doing it tomorrow. Whoa! Never did it.
You've never done nothing till you do, diet, do.
Did it. Done it. Liked it. Loved it.
It has a responsive dual overhead cam engine, but it's not a Mercedes. It has a highly advanced multiple link suspension system, but it's not a BMW. It has dual airbags and 24-hour roadside assistance, but it's not a Lexus. It's an entirely different kind of luxury sedan. It's an affordable one. The new 1994 Nissan Altima, built for the human race.
Fans, a reminder to stay tuned right after the ball game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass, guaranteed the pick of the crop from coast to coast.
An improperly installed windshield could cause a car's airbag to lose its effectiveness. Another reason, Apple Auto Glass only uses the Bond for Life installation system. Protect what really matters.
Apple Auto Glass.
Well, the fans here at the ballpark so far seeing quite a ball game. The Expos took a 2-0 lead. David Hollins homered to tie it at 2. Phil scored 3 in the top of the 5th and led 5-2. The Expos came back on Rondell White's 2-run double in the bottom of the 5th. And it's 5-4, Phil's by 1 in the 6th inning. And we'll have a pinch hitter. With the Phillies starting left-hander Danny Jackson, Felipe Alou started Randy Reddy, a right-handed batter at first base. Now with the Phillies going to the bullpen and the right-hander Roger Mason in the game, Felipe sends Cliff Floyd to the plate.
Of course, Cliff had a tremendous year in AA and AAA, both at Harrisburg and at Ottawa.
1 strike to Cliff Floyd. In Cliff Floyd's first major league at-bat last night, he faced Tommy Green and struck out. This is his 2nd plate appearance in the majors. And a ball and a strike to Floyd. Ken told you a tremendous year. The USA Today minor league player of the year. At Harrisburg, 329. At Ottawa, 240. Combined for 28 home runs and 119 RBIs. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Cliff Floyd.
A lot of power, great bat speed. Really gets the bat through the strike zone.
Roger Mason strikes Floyd out. 1 down. That's the first strikeout for Mason. Curtis Pride is going to be the batter.
Passes him upstairs with the fastball. Roger Mason adding a few miles per hour on this last pitch. And you can see it's too much for Floyd to catch up to.
So Curtis Pride, the batter, his first major league hit was a 2-run single in the 7th inning here Friday night that just electrified. It was a double, by the way, that just electrified the fans. Came in the 7th inning off Bobby Thigpen of the Phillies. Curtis Pride, the first deaf player to play in the major leagues since 1945, when Dick Sipek played for the Cincinnati Reds briefly. One ball and 1 strike. When Curtis doubled on Friday night, he stood at second and really did not know how to react. The fans were standing and cheering, and he said later he could feel it in his chest. Check swing by Pride, left-handed batter, and Joe West said he went around.
Well, let's check for ourselves. Does he go? Yeah, he did. The umpire's looking for the head of that bat to cross in front of home plate, and Curtis's bat was definitely out there.
Pride played so well at Harrisburg and Ottawa. Check swing, strike 3 called. So a couple of strikeouts for Mason here, facing the rookies Floyd and Pride. And now we go to John Vanderwall, pinch hitting in the 9th spot. Want to remind you to stay with us after the ball game. Player of the game for the Phillies. On behalf of Weed Eater, powerful Weed Eater blowers and vacuums. They're easy to start, easy to use, and useful all year round. Weed Eater, yards ahead, season after season. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of that player and Weed Eater. Vanderwall pinch hitting here. The club down by a run. 6th inning of play. Floyd hit for Reddy. Pride hit for Spear. Vanderwall is hitting for Barnes.
We saw Mason strike out the first 2 hitters, the rookies coming up for the Expos, and he did it with pitches out of the strike zone. And that's one thing major league pitchers are very adept at, getting hitters to chase pitches out of the zone just a little bit once they get ahead on the count, and then they go to work. And minor league pitchers are minor league pitchers just because they cannot do that sort of thing as effectively.
Now 3-1 to Vanderwall. Vanderwall trying to get Mason to change his pattern now, refusing to chase those pitches out of the zone so far. Vanderwall draws a walk, and with 2 outs in the 6th inning, the Expos have the tying run aboard. First walk given up by Mason. Here's the line on Danny Jackson.
As Dave told you, Danny didn't go far enough to gain a decision in this ball game. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked 5 and only had 1 strikeout. 77 pitches for Danny Jackson, who has chosen to remain on the bench, and that's Larry Anderson, veteran right-hander, to his left.
Marquise Grissom, 1 for 2 with a walk, has scored a couple of runs. Ball 1. Grissom currently batting .293. Phillies with a 5-4 lead in the 6th. One and 1 now to Grissom. 1-1 pitch to Marquise Grissom is popped up, and Duncan has this, and the Expos are through in the 6th inning. 5-4 Phillies headed to the 7th. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
In just 6 months, over 250,000 Canadians have called us to find out how they could save on their long-distance phone calls. The company they're calling is Unitel, Canada's new long-distance phone company. And the savings just got better. Now we're going to save you up to 45% off your long-distance phone calls with our Close Connections calling plan. Plus, call now and find out how you can earn 1 month of free long-distance calls. So before you call Mom, Dad, that old friend, or that new bundle, call us and start saving a bundle. Just pick up a phone, any phone, and call us at 1-800-578-1313 to get all the details. Keeping in mind these numbers, 45% and 1 month free, can you afford not to call this one? We're Unitel, Canada's new long-distance phone company, and we'll save you money, but not until you call 1-800-578-1313.
The new catcher is Joe Siddle. After pinch hitting, now remaining in the game, Cliff Floyd at first base. And Mel Rojas comes on to do the pitching for the Expos. Siddle will bat 8th and Rojas 9th. Dalton, Chamberlain, and Amaro for the Philadelphia Phillies. And they have a 1-run lead, 5-4. After the ball game, the Phillies return home to Philadelphia. And they have the Marlins in a series at Philadelphia starting tomorrow night for 3 games. Then next weekend at Philadelphia, they play the Braves. The Expos have a day off tomorrow. They play the Braves here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then travel to New York and Florida, including a 4-game series with the Marlins. The Expos will finish here against Pittsburgh. The Phillies finish on the road at Pittsburgh and St. Louis. Dalton 2 out of 3. A strike. Mark Clark pitching for Cleveland at Detroit today had quite a ball game going, and we'll tell you about it when we get a chance to look at some of the other scores. Phils have the left-hander David West up in the bullpen. 2 balls and a strike. Cleveland's got the game well in hand at Detroit. Scott Livingston broke up Mark Clark's no-hit bid in the 7th inning with a hit. Ground ball to DeShields. 1 down in the 7th inning. Dalton's gone. Chamberlain up. So Mark Clark had a no-hit bid going to the 7th, and Scott Livingston singled, and Clark leads 11-0. Giants with a 4-0 lead there, and that is at Cincinnati. Matt Williams hit a grand slam home run. The Cardinals have a 5-1 lead in the 5th against Pittsburgh. A bouncer for Cordero. 2 down. Florida leading at Chicago 1-0 in the 5th. Hammond looking for his 11th win. Conine's homered for the Marlins. Houston leads 2-1 in the 5th at the Astrodome, with Darryl Kyle looking for his 16th win there. The Dodgers have a 1-0 lead in the 2nd at Colorado, with Ramon Martinez on the mound. Tonight, New York at Atlanta. You'll see it here on TSN. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 o'clock tonight, the Mets and the Braves. Two down. Ruben Amaro, the batter. That's fouled out of play.
Well, the Expos are somewhat concerned about Mel Rojas, and this winter they are not going to let Mel pitch winter ball. They want him to shut it down. They're concerned the number of innings he's worked the last couple of years, and Mel has been kind of streaky. He's been hot this year, and sometimes he just hasn't been able to do the job. So Felipe and the coaches feel that if Mel will take it easy this next winter and not throw winter ball in his native Dominican Republic, he can come back strong next spring.
Sixth inning, Toronto with a 1-0 lead. Looking for their 8th consecutive win. New York trailing at home against Boston 4-2 in the 8th. Rojas taking care of Amaro, and the Phillies will go to the Expos half of the 7th inning, 5-4 Philadelphia. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
Enter Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. You can win trips to the top 10 sporting events, plus a brand new Dodge Viper. Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. Make it yours. Look for the Gillette display.
Tell your sisters, tell your brothers. Hey, yeah, McCain makes a pizza for the deep pan lovers.
McCain Deep Pan Tender Crisp Pizza, the finest pizza that ever came out of your oven. A unique, gentle way of rolling the dough gives you deep pan pizza perfection.
McCain makes a pizza for the deep pan lovers.
McCain Deep Pan Pizza, the finest pizza to ever come out of your oven.
I'm Ken Singleton. Lung disease is the 3rd largest killer of Canadians. The Lung Association is the #1 hope for the #3 killer. Please give generously. We'll all breathe a little easier.
Well, here at the stadium, the fans up for the 7th inning stretch. And the Expos down by 1. A big swing on this game. The Expos will find themselves either 6 games behind the Phillies with 13 to go, or 4 games behind the Phillies with 13 to go. The Expos have a new pitcher in the game. The Phillies have a new pitcher in the game, David West. That's who the Expos will face with DeShields, White, and Walker coming up. Crowd of over 40,000 today. They tell us 40,047. Total attendance for the series, 136,242. It's the largest 3-game series total attendance since the Expos played the Phillies in August of 1982 here and drew over 156,000. Bill Thompson is in the game in left field for Philadelphia. Amaro out of the game. Dykstra stays in center, Chamberlain in right. West is in the dirt, and the count is even on DeShields, 1-1. So that's the 3-day total with over 40,000 here today. Two balls and a strike. So that is a good sign. Three and one.
Delino much in the same way, used to leading off most of the time like Lenny Dykstra does, and both of them very adept at knowing what is a strike and what is not.
A leadoff walk. The tying runs on with David West in the game.
I think we all knew that last pitch wasn't a strike.
Rondell White doubled to drive in 2 in the 5th inning.
We just saw Larry Anderson sitting on the bench next to Danny Jackson. Well, now he's up in his more familiar role of being a late inning reliever, at least warming up.
David West, in his career, 9 previous appearances against the Expos, has only allowed 1 earned run in 11 2/3 innings. Ball 1, no strikes to Rondell White. Tell you one thing, the fans throughout this weekend have had a great time at the ballpark. They have been treated to one exciting game after another.
Well, West worked a third of an inning here on Friday night and walked 3 men. A lot of movement on that last pitch. Dalton had to scramble to come up with it.
Yeah, Dalton losing his balance to come up with it, and it was a called strike.
Here's the pitch. Now watch the reaction of the catcher. That ball kind of just slid at the last second, and Dalton had everything he could do just to catch it.
2-1 on White. Ball hit foul out of play right side.
I was saying that West walked 3 men the other night. Got 1 out. And he also hit Darren Fletcher. So this weekend he has been more like the Wild Wild West than David West.
A pop fly to center, and Dykstra is under this. 1 down.
Here's on the foul ball that was hit by Rondell White, and John Kruk, that knee almost gave out on him. And we've mentioned from time to time during this season that Big John has had problems with that left knee.
That ball hit Larry Walker. That moves DeShields to second. He's the tying run. Walker at first is the potential go-ahead run.
Larry looks more like Ron Hunt on this play. Look at him right on top of the plate. And remember how Ron Hunt used to turn and let the ball hit him and take a base? This is exactly the same thing that happens here. And David West is out of the game.
That's it for David West. Larry Anderson comes on. Here's Larry Walker telling John Kruk he's got needs a ribbon back there for a ponytail. Kruk walking away from the scene
before Larry pulls out the scissors.
Jim Fregosi out there talking things over with Larry Anderson, the new pitcher, and the rest of the Phillies that are there. Dalton, Kruk, and second baseman Duncan.
So West works 2/3 of an inning here this weekend. Walks 4 and hits 2.
Well, Larry Anderson, as you know only too well, Ken, is very, very tough on right-handed batters.
Mr. Slider. Everything he throws is a slider.
Anderson against the Expos is making his 46th career appearance, and he's got a 6-1 record. That's against Montreal. Larry Anderson comes on here. Expos have got the stage set with 1 out. with the tying run at second and the go-ahead run at first. And Sean Berry coming up, Anderson's 57th appearance. Quick look over at the American League. And Baltimore is at Milwaukee, leading 5-4. Well, we have two different scores, so we'll just double-check all of that and get back to you on the Baltimore ball game.
Both scores had them ahead, right? So we can just say Baltimore's leading.
Right here in this game, it is 5-4 Phillies, and Anderson's ready to go. Sean Berry with a hit to drive in a run in the first, struck out in the third, walked in the fifth. The correct score, as we've said, 5-4. Orioles lead at Milwaukee in the sixth. Right here, Phils by a run. We'll see what the Expos can do here in the seventh. Looks like Sean's got a fan club up there in the bleachers. One strike on Sean Berry.
There's that slider that Anderson likes to keep blowing away from the right-handers. The best way to go about hitting him is either hit it right back to him or go the other way. You can see that pitch dart away just at the last second. I mean, we've been watching Anderson for a number of years now. I don't think we've ever seen him throw a fastball. Philly's quite aware of the Expos speed on the bases. And you can see Larry keeping an eye on Delino. If Delino should take off, he wants to be able to get a quick move towards second.
Berry fouls one off to the right. Larry Anderson is 40 years old in his 13th year. His second time around with the Phillies. He played with the Phils in the early and mid 80s. Went to spring training after having signed on as a free agent as a non-roster player. Had to make the club. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
They've yet again another late inning situation, a clutch situation. We've seen them all 3 days.
One and 2 pitch. Got him. Two down.
Here's the pitch, and once again, Berry misses it. It's in the inner half this time. Let's see, the target is away. Let's see where this ball sails. This looked more like a fastball. Finally, after 6 years, we finally seen one. Now the Philly infielders at short and second are dropped back a bit. They don't feel that Delino is more apt to steal third base with 2 down.
Cordero is up here. Today has walked, popped up, and lined into a double play. Scorched the ball in the 5th inning when the Expos had runners at first and third. And Cordero ripped a line drive right to Hollins, and Rondell White was doubled off third. A ball and a strike on Cordero.
Well, you can see why Anderson uses that slider quite extensively. It's a good one. Breaks late and breaks hard. Down and away.
One pitch. And a bouncer for the shortstop, Stocker. That's all for the Expos. Truck down, his knee hurting, hobbles off the field. Anderson got the job done. It was there for the Expos, but he struck out Berry and got Cordero on the ground ball to short. It's on to the 8th with the Phillies leading by 1. This is Expos baseball on TSN. Here's the remainder of the schedule for the Expos, with the Braves here starting Tuesday night. A 3-game series. We'll have the Wednesday night game for you. New York at Shea Stadium next weekend. The Expos will play 3 with the Mets, on to Florida for 4, back here to finish up with the Pittsburgh Pirates in a 3-game series. The Phillies go home to play the Marlins starting tomorrow night. Then they have Atlanta and go to Pittsburgh and St. Louis to finish.
Here's a look at Stocker with the last play of the inning. Now, John Kruk looked like he's down for the count. It's hard for him to get up and push off that left knee, but he made it to the dugout.
It is at times painful to watch him move around on the field, isn't it? But he is out there every day. Mel Rojas in his 2nd inning of work. Got the side in order in the last inning. Kevin Stocker is 1 for 2 today. A strike. 5-4 Phillies, and you go back to the 5th inning. The hit and the RBI that is the difference in this game right now is the single by Ruben Amaro that drove in Darren Dalton. That was one batter after Kirk Rueter suffered a strained right hamstring while pitching to Wes Chamberlain. Cliff Floyd with the play. Stocker is out.
First play by Cliff Floyd in the major leagues. So he's 1 for 1 at his position. And, you know, he spent a lot of time in the outfield in the minor leagues this year, kind of going back between first base and the outfield. When he first signed with the Expos, they had him at first, then they moved him to center field. He's also played left field.
Cliff Floyd is big, 6'4", 220. Thompson with the foul ball out of play. His first at bat. Thompson's hitting .259, 4 homers, 42 RBIs.
You know, we've talked about teams needing 25 players or more to win a division or even a pennant or maybe even a world championship. But Milt Thompson's a great example of that, along with Pete Incaviglia. Both of them done a job for the Phillies in left field this year. Thompson has made several game-saving catches. He made one in San Diego early this year, pulling a home run back from over the fence to preserve a Philadelphia Philly victory. That was early in the year when they were on a hot streak. So everybody on the Phillies has had a chance to contribute to this type of effort they put together this year. And the same can be said for the Expos as they try and run the Phillies down in this Eastern Division race.
Berry boots the ball at third. A ground ball to the third baseman. Let's just see if the ball did anything funny coming out of the dirt to the AstroTurf.
Let's see if it hits the seam. Now, see where the dirt meets the artificial surface? I thought just at the very top of it in front of Berry, the ball might have hit it and taken an erratic bounce just at the very end right there. And it's off the heel of his glove, and Thompson is saved.
The first error charged in the game. Dykstra up 2 out of 4, scored a run in the 3rd inning. Phils are up by a run here in the 8th. Rojas looking at Thompson. A strike to Dykstra. I want to remind you to stay with us right after the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass, guaranteed the pick of the crop from coast to coast. Interesting number selection for Floyd, wasn't it, by equipment man John Silverman and the ball club. Number 30. A pop foul. Let's see if it's foul. Rondell White under it. That's in fair territory. 2 down. First Expo to wear number 30 was Maury Wills. And most recently, fans will remember through the decade of the 80s, Timmy Raines. And now that number has been passed on to Cliff Floyd.
Could you be looking at a future 30-30? Who knows?
Duncan with a couple of doubles today. 6 hits in the series. Barry flags it down from his knees, throws to the dirt, and DeShields picks it out of the dirt. What a play on both ends there. Barry to DeShields.
Well, Barry atones for the error. There's the shot to third. Watch him leave his feet, close up the hole, and then make the throw to second for the force from his knees.
On to the bottom of the 8th. 5-4 Phils. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
After you shave, now there's comfort to the power of 3. It's new Soothing Edge Aftershave with 3 soothing formulas for 3 specific skin types. An aloe formula that's alcohol-free to soothe sensitive skin. Extra moisturizers to soothe if your skin is dry. And a cool vitamin E splash for normal skin. Soothing better than ever with the power of 3. New Edge Aftershave skincare for men. Ultimate comfort. That's the Edge.
A 1-run deficit for the Expos as they come to bat in the 8th inning. Larry Anderson, who did such a good job to get out of that mess in the 7th inning that was created when David West walked Delano and hit Larry Walker, continues on here in the 8th inning. Cliff Floyd will lead it off. Well, you talked about the possible 30-30. He didn't miss by all that much this year. Floyd had 28 home runs for the year and over 30 stolen bases. John Wetland and Tim Scott get ready. I think when you consider all that we have heard and all that has been written and said about Cliff Floyd since he signed with the Expos out of Thornwood High School in Chicago, he is probably the most heralded rookie ever to arrive on the scene, including people like Dawson and Raines.
Well, you mentioned Thornwood High School in Chicago, and Cliff was growing up. His favorite player was Harold Baines of the Chicago White Sox, then of the Chicago White Sox. Harold now playing for the Orioles, but you notice that front leg kick of Cliff Floyd. He said he used to pattern that after the way Harold used to hit. So he used to brings that front leg up, puts it back down, just like Harold.
Cliff Floyd, drafted in the June '91 draft. And he is called out here on strikes. Lou Frazier's going to pinch hit.
Check out the leg break on the slider. There it is. Larry Anderson drops it over the outside corner, low and away. Good pitch by the veteran right-hander.
Lou Frazier is batting for Joe Siddle. One out, none on. Frazier is hitting .285. Has been the club's top pinch hitter. 12 pinch hits in 46 pinch hit at-bats. Switch hitter. Dalton trying to pull the pitch into the strike zone. But it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Lou, of course, in his minor league days with his great speed, used quite a bit out of the leadoff spot, so he'll take pitches until he has to swing the bat and get himself on. He'll try and allow the pitcher to put him on.
Two and two.
See, Anderson tried to throw the same pitch that he threw to Cliff Floyd, trying to backdoor the slider. And that means you keep it. It looks like it's going to be outside. Then it darts over the corner. He got it on the corner to Floyd, but he missed with Frazier. See, now on the 3-2 pitch, he's more in the middle of the plate with the breaking ball. He wants to throw a strike.
Fletcher, who will stay in the game to catch, has come out to the on-deck circle. Frazier takes strike 3. And Larry Anderson has been something else. He's faced 4, struck out 3.
Let's check the location. Is this high enough? I don't know. That's borderline, but maybe too close to take. Frazier can't believe it. He thinks it's ball 4. But Gary Darling punches him out.
Two down in the 8th inning. Phils lead by 1. A strike to Fletcher. Darren Fletcher's batting .264, 8 home runs, 56 RBIs. Nothing and 2 on Fletcher. We mentioned the crowd here for the weekend, over 136,000. That was almost unbelievable to read in the morning paper today a story by one of the writers who was at the game last night, who complained about everything from the music on the public address system to who was playing at first base. And you would have thought that nobody has had a good time this weekend at Olympic Stadium or has enjoyed the baseball the team has played had you just read that article. But the fans this weekend have had a tremendous time. They've seen 3 action-packed baseball games.
Sometimes a minority of one can be quite vocal.
For example, the writer complained about the fact that the Expos had played the Louis Armstrong piece, What a Wonderful World, when the game ended, citing what poor judgment the club used in playing that, when in fact the Expos have played that every single time the team has lost a game this year at Olympic Stadium. So it's been played 23 times. No one has ever complained about it until last night, or I should say this morning in the paper. One and 2. And that ball is popped up. And at first, Kruk hobbles back there. He's called off by Duncan. That's it for the Expos in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th inning at Olympic Stadium. 5-4 Phillies. This is Expos baseball on TSN. And here's another update with Chris Edens.
Welcome back to our TSN Control Center. A couple of games in the CFL this afternoon. Saskatchewan at Sacramento, and the Toronto Argonauts playing host to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The first game under a new former head coach, Bob Obilovich. Argos playing well defensively and offensively. Second half, Tracy Ham avoids the pressure, goes downfield to Robert Clark. He has a chance to score, gets pushed into the end zone. Argos up 28-20 at that point. They would go on to win this game under Tracy Ham and company, 35-26, 28,915 on hand at the Sky Dome in Toronto to watch Bob Obilovich's return to the Argonauts. First quarter action has Sacramento up, rather trailing Saskatchewan 7-0. Taylor Field, of course. Nigel Mansell, the IndyCar rookie, with the chance to win the driver's title in the IndyCar circuit this afternoon. The stop was in Pennsylvania. Nigel Mansell looking to clinch today. Could he? Start, he gets jumped by 2 Penske cars. Paul Tracy, Emerson Fittipaldi, both move ahead of him. They sit first and second. Scott Goodyear having an excellent afternoon. Started 10th. Here he sits second. That's where he would finish. But in the end, it would be Nigel Mansell in control for most of the afternoon. He retook the lead. Mansell wins the race and clinches the Drivers' Championship with a big win. Goodyear second, Paul Tracy third. 22nd was Vancouver's Ross Bentley. Now let's return to Olympic Stadium in Montreal. 9th inning action, the Expos and the Phillies.
You're looking at Tim Scott, who comes on to work this 9th inning for the Expos. It'll be John Kruk, Dave Hollins, and Darren Dalton for Scott. Scott was the winning pitcher here Friday night in the 12-inning 8-7 win. He faced this part of the batting order. Kruk, Hollins, Dalton. He's going to face him again here in the 9th. Mitch Williams is ready in the Philadelphia bullpen. Kruk is 0 for 3 with a walk.
The other night, Scott came in, and as Dave told you Friday night, picked up the victory, but he walked John Kruk and then struck out the next 3 hitters.
One strike on Kruk. Been on base once. That was in the 6th inning. Facing Brian Barnes, he drew a walk and was stranded. DeShields with the play. Kruk is out. A home run in the 3rd inning, his 18th of the year. He raced an early Expos 2-0 lead. Scott's 1-0 pitch. Ball 2.
Scott's primary pitch is at 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but he has a breaking ball that he is beginning to get over better and better as the season has gone along. Occasionally he'll drop a changeup in there, but that you know, maybe once during an inning. That's no changeup. That was Holland's guessing a fastball 2-0, getting it and swinging it through it. It was out of the strike zone. Ooh. That was close.
Three balls and a strike to Hollins. Darren Daulton is on deck. The Phillies have a runner with 1 out in the 9th. Daulton's 2 for 4 today. Scored 1, drove 1 in. When the game was tied at 2 and the Phillies were batting in the 5th inning, Daulton drove in the go-ahead run to make it 3-2 Phils.
It's been a long year for Daulton. He's caught most of the games for the Philadelphia Phillies, and this time of year, getting down to the last couple of weeks of the season, all the players have these little nicks and bruises that have gone on and on. Baseball's just about an everyday sport, not too many days off, and nothing really gets a chance to heal. And for a catcher, it's even more taxing because you're behind the plate getting nicked by foul balls and home plate collisions and all the rest. The catchers are among the toughest people in this game. And it's the guys who reach back for that little extra come into September and then on into the playoffs that you know, can put all of this aside. I mean, after 162 games and a division race is decided, then all of a sudden you got to turn it up a notch again for the playoffs and possibly the World Series. And along the stages of the season, you know, whether you're in first place or second on the charge, you are fighting. And once you get a chance to meet head to head, this is what you get. Some exciting baseball. This is like a pre-playoff playoff.
Looking over in foul territory. The ball is back into the seats, and a ball and 2 strikes. Dalton gets back in, 1-2 the count. Double play depth on the infield. Jim Eisenreich has come out to the on-deck circle. Tim Scott puts Darren Dalton away. Scott's first strikeout.
Kind of a hesitant swing by Darren Dalton. He's just trying to spoil this one and foul it off in a good spot and when something on it. Tim Scott, who struck Dalton out the other night, gets him again today.
2 down, and Jim Eisenreich is batting for Wes Chamberlain. The left-handed batter comes in to face the right-handed pitcher. Eisenreich hitting .338 for the year. Strike 1.
Tim Scott is just blowing the ball by the hitters right here. Scott, who has earned the nickname from Mel Rojas of Big Country. I don't know how Mel got it, but that's his nickname.
Tim Scott from Hanford, California. Draws the throw at first base. Eisenreich started the first game of this series against Dennis Martinez. And Eisenreich went 2 for 3, including a double, and scored a run against Dennis. That ball's hit in the air to right center. Grissom has it. No runs. 1 left. Into the 9th for the Expos. 5-4 Phils. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
About the Taurus, he never stopped talking about it.
Taurus is a super sedan. Well, because I'm an accountant, I'm always concerned about cost.
They were both the same price, weren't they?
The wagon and the sedan, yes.
We looked at Chrysler, but they don't have a wagon.
Air conditioning was one factor. Cruise control, I enjoy that.
We took 6 people in the wagon.
Even with your mother there, it was...
All right.
All right. It's great aesthetically, just the overall design.
Great sound system. As a musician,
He's got very good ears.
Here on the set, when the lights come up and the camera starts to roll, there's no place to hide. My hair has to look great. Even one flake is one too many for me. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. Put it to the test. Prove it to yourself. Because great hair can't have flakes.
Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1. Dandruff care for great-looking hair.
Kim Batiste is in the game at third base. Jim Eisenreich remains in the game. He is in right field. And the pitcher is Mitch Williams. Phillies are up 5-4. Mitch Williams earned his 39th save here last night. He pitched and was the losing pitcher Friday night. Top of the Expos batting order. Marquise Grissom will lead it off. Now again, a big swing lies in the balance here. The Expos are going to be 6 games behind the Phillies with a loss. They will pull to within 4 once again if they can pull off the comeback and win the game. And the team gets a standing ovation as Marquise Grissom heads to the plate. Williams is the 5th pitcher. number that we looked at a while ago and discussed, the magic number, because that swings by 2 as well. Grissom pops it up, foul, out of play.
You know, when you watch Mitch Williams pitch, and kind of curly-Q wind-up, and he's described his wind-up and delivery as like a man falling out of a tree. See how he has to brace himself with his glove? Trying to get everything into it.
One and 2 pitch. 2 and 2.
Here's a look at the delivery by Mitch Williams. The curl, the fire, and the recoil.
2 and 2 pitch to Grissom. Ball is in the air to center. Dykstra is under it. 1 away in the 9th. Grissom 1 for 4 on the afternoon with a walk and 2 runs scored. Delino DeShields. He has been on base 4 times. Walked, doubled, and walked 2 more times. Has scored a run, has driven 1 in. A strike to Delino. Ken Felipe Alou pointed out earlier that if the Expos should lose, it is not over. But I think the Phillies will feel as though it's over.
The Phillies will feel that they've come into a very difficult place for the National League to win. Anybody come in here and beat the Expos. Expos with the best home record in baseball. And for the Phillies to come in here and take 2 out of 3 is certainly a major accomplishment, especially after dropping the first game.
Out of play. 0 and 2. Up the middle. The tying run is aboard. DeShields is on base for the 5th consecutive time. In the 9th inning last night with 1 out, it was Larry Walker who reached base against Mitch Williams. This afternoon, it's DeShields.
Well, right over Mitch's noggin and on into center field for a base hit. That was not much of an 0-2 pitch. Mitch Williams is the type of pitcher that goes for the plate. He's not really concerned with location. He has good velocity on his fastball and relies on that. But Delino hanging in there and getting a base hit on an 0-2 pitch.
It's only the 6th hit for the Expos and the first since Rondell White's 2-run double in the 5th inning. Ball 1. A 21-year-old rookie at the plate. DeShields is running. The throw is in the dirt and bounces away, and DeShields will hold at second base. A good backup job by Kevin Stocker.
Now you begin to wonder, you know, players make contributions. Kevin Stocker called up from the minor leagues to try and help the Phillies in their quest for a shortstop. You can see the ball breaking away from Mariano Duncan, but it's Stocker who's going to run this down. Dalton not much of a chance to throw the Shields out. Throws in the dirt away, but Stocker hustling through your picture there came up with it before Delino could go to third.
The tying run is at second. Ball 3 to Rondell White.
Now remember, a steal of third has been big for the Expos in the first 2 games of this series. The opening game, it was Marquise Grissom. Yesterday, or last night, it was Larry Walker. And it was Walker who stole on Mitch Williams.
Rondell White takes a strike. The count is 3-1. Larry Walker is on deck. The 3-1 pitch. Ball 4 to Rondell White. The potential tying run is at second. Winning run is at first. And Larry Walker at the plate. Johnny Padres comes to the mound to visit Mitch Williams. In the ballpark are standing. Larry Walker has been hitless today. 0 for 3. Last time up was hit by a pitch. We said it last night, Ken, and repeated it today, that a team looks for an opportunity to win the game in its final at-bat. The Expos have that opportunity.
You know, Mitch, that's his move, the second right there. That's his pickoff move. Just to hold Delino close. He doesn't want to throw it because it might end up in Lenny Dykstra's hands.
Walker swings, pops it up foul, and he urges the ball back into the seats. One out in the ninth. 2 strikes on Larry Walker. Phillies up by a run. Foul ball back out of play.
Edge of your seat baseball this weekend.
0-2 pitch. Ball 1. And wouldn't it be fun to listen to Felipe? That conversation he was having with Tim Johnson and Joe Kerrigan was probably the what next, what if. if Walker gets a hit, if the runners move up.
Well, look at Dalton trying to coax Mitch Williams through his last couple outs of this ball game. I wonder how many times he's done that during the course of the year.
2-2, the count on Larry Walker. DeShields leading away at second. Rondell White at first. Walker with a bouncing ball. Kruk knocks it down, picks it up. Walker slides and beats the play, and the bases are loaded. Here comes Jim Fregosi to take up the argument. Larry Walker with a head-first slide, beating the play at first base.
Well, manager Jim Fregosi's out there stating his case. And he said his piece and is now headed back to the dugout. Here's the replay. Kruk bobbles. Does he recover in time and get it to Williams ahead of Larry Walker? Watch Larry. Hey, that's too close to call. Maybe a better angle here. Kruk with it. Flips to Mitch Williams. Does Larry's hand get there? That looks like he is out.
Replay out. Safe in the game on the call by Charlie Williams.
Yeah, he was there. You can see Mitch turning over his shoulder to watch DeShields rounding third, but
well, in what inning did Felipe go out to plant the seed?
Way back early in the ball game. I can't remember the inning. There was a close play with one of the Expos at first, and that was a long time ago, but you're right.
Here's Berry, bases full. Strike one. The tying run, 90 feet from home, Delino DeShields. At second base, the winning run, Rondell White. Larry Walker at first with one out. Fills up 5-4. Berry with a drive foul down the right field line. The count on Sean Berry. And a pop-up on the infield. Kruk wants it. And Kruk has it. 2 outs.
Well, Mitch Williams made a couple of great pitches on Sean Berry. Berry likes to pitch his out over the plate. Mitch Williams was in on his hands. And they were strikes. Watch this last pitch. There's a target from Dalton, and Mitch Williams, who is not known for his control, gets that one right where he wants it and pops Berry up. Here's the follow through on the swing. Kruk comes down with it, and that's a big, big out.
So now it is left to Will Cordero. 0 for 3 and a walk. Ball one. Sean Berry was at the plate last night with Walker at third base. Made the final out of the game. Ball two. And again, Dalton has to go out and try to settle Williams down.
You know, I think this is more of a scolding than trying to settle him down. This is nowhere near the strike zone. And as we said, Mitch Williams not known for his control.
I don't know who first wrote it, but it's been said several times that Williams pitches like his hair's on fire.
Mitch once came in a game last year and worked 2 innings and threw 59 pitches in 2 innings. That's almost 2/3 of a ball game.
2-0. A strike to Cordero.
Oh, he took something off that one to get it over. If he does it again, Cordero's got to jump on it.
Two and 1 pitch. Cordero rips a shot over the bag at third and down the line. Here is DeShields with a tying run. Here is Rondell White with the winning run. And the Expos have beaten the Philadelphia Phillies in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs on Will Cordero's double. It's a 6-5 Montreal win. They take the series 2 out of 3 and close the gap to 4.
Mitch Williams got the 2-0 pitch over just to throw a strike. He tries it again and pays the price. Will Cordero, who had lined out to third earlier in the ballgame with men on base, this time gets it past third, and there's your game-winning hit.
It is a game-winning single for Cordero, who never made it to second. He is swamped by his teammates.
The first one out to greet him was Sean Barrett.
And Will Cordero is with us. Will, congratulations. What a wonderful moment for you and for the team.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I'm so excited. I mean, it was a situation where I can beat the team, I mean, winning, and I feel real proud of it.
Well, certainly Mitch Williams, a 2-0 pitch, it looked like he took something off the fastball just to get it over for a strike.
Yeah.
And I mentioned you should be waiting for the next one, and you were ready.
I mean, in that situation, I was really expecting, to be honest with you, I was going to take anything he throw except fastball. I was just expecting to throw the fastball, and I was going to swing whatever. So I was glad that I got it over the middle, and I put a good wood on it.
We're going to show it again here, Will, and Williams comes. It looks like it's right down the middle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, every fastball that he threw me, I was going to be swinging. So it was a pretty good pitch to hit, I hope.
Well, you know the locker room must be jumping, and they're all waiting for you as you go inside.
Will, congratulations. A huge hit last night to give the team a chance to win.
Yeah.
A game winner today. A wonderful feeling for you and the ball club. All the best. And thanks for the visit.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Expos shortstop Will Cordero. What a hit.
I'll tell you, Dave, you know, if fans can't be entertained by what has gone on here this weekend at the Big O against the Philadelphia Phillies, the 2 best teams in the Eastern Division, and as the sign says, the Expos fever has been caught as the fans, over 130 strong, saw the Expos in the field.
6-5, the Expos over the Phillies. This is Expos baseball on TSN.
It takes dozens of moving parts for brakes to work effectively. At Midas, we'll inspect every one of them, from brake pedal to brake pad, and everything in between. For the free 49-point brake inspection, trust your brakes to Midas.
In reality, there is life after work. And there is a place for clothes at work. just as well off the job as they do on it. Reality is you only got so much money to go around, so you want fair prices on clothes that can do a job for you all the time. That's where you come in, for what looks good and what works even better. Because there's more to life than collecting a paycheck. There's Mark's Work Warehouse and clothes that work.
Enter Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. You can win trips to the top 10 sporting events, plus a brand new Dodge Viper. Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. Make it yours. Look for the Gillette display.
Super crisps, super spirals. McCain, what have you done to my fries?
We've spiced them up.
All right.
We've crisped them up. Brilliant. We've even curled them up.
Excellent.
McCain has taken its famous super fries, dipped them in light batter, and surrounded them with bite after bite of crispy, crunchy, super spicy satisfaction. Straight ahead or curled around. Super crisps and super spirals from McCain. You'll love what we've done to your fries.
We've always taken care of ourselves, but now it's doubly important to my peace of mind to know how to maintain regularity without drugs or medication. That's why now, more than ever, I rely on All Bran from Kellogg's. As part of a balanced diet, All Bran is a very high source of fiber.
All Bran from Kellogg's. All the time. A drug-free way to promote regularity.
Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Apple Auto Glass.
Just a few moments ago, Will Cordero turned what looked to be certain defeat into a victory. First, the 2-0 pitch for a strike. And now the delivery. And here's your ball game. Expos win it 6-5.
A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Apple Auto Glass. Guaranteed the pick of the crop from coast to coast.
Have you ever tasted Crystal Pepsi?
No.
Definitely different than traditional Pepsi.
What do you think? Everyone is watching. We're waiting. It has a cleaner flavor. It's got a taste all of its own. What do you think? Refreshing.
Not heavy. No, it's not syrupy.
We're still waiting, Brandon. Please recycle. That's good.
Just different.
Wow.
Okay, Brandon. What do you think? We're waiting.
How about it? It tastes real good. What do you think?
Enter Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. You can win trips to the top 10 sporting events, plus a brand new Dodge Viper. Gillette's all-time greatest sports fantasy. Make it yours. Look for the Gillette display.
Here on the set, when the lights come up and the camera starts to roll, there's no place to hide. My hair has to look great. Even one flake is one too many for me. That's why I use Head & Shoulders. Put it to the test. Prove it to yourself. Because great hair can't have flakes.
Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1. Dandruff care for great-looking hair.
Wait! I'm having a snack attack!
Captain Nibbler, to the rescue! With cheese nibblers from McCain, the delicious, nutritious snack that satisfies your sudden hunger as only the taste of real cheese can. McCain makes nibblers from cheddar, mozzarella, Montreal, marble cheese, and convenient single snacks and multi-packs. So when you feel a snack attack coming on, grab a McCain cheese nibbler. Now available in pizza and nachos.
I'm Ken Singleton. Lung disease is the third largest killer of Canadians. The Lung Association is the #1 hope for the #3 killer. Please give generously. We'll all breathe a little easier.
Expos Baseball on TSN. Brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi reminds you to be young, have fun, drink Pepsi.
player of the game for the Expos is Will Cordero. The player of the game for the Phillies is Dave Hollins. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Special Olympics on behalf of Will and Dave, along with Sanyo and Weed Eater. All members of the Expos pitching staff receive a selection of gifts from Black & Decker's serious do-it-yourself line of power tools. You'll never outgrow them. And Midas. For brake, exhaust, suspension, and steering service, trust your car to Midas. The next Jays telecast comes up Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern. The Red Sox will be playing the Jays at Skydome. And our next telecast will come up on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern. The Expos will entertain the Atlanta Braves. It'll be Steve Avery and Jeff Fassaro. Will Cordero with the game winner with 2 outs in the last of the 9th, and a 6-5 win for the Expos over the Phillies. And the story, the magic number for the Phils remains at 10 as the Expos close to within 4. Coming up tonight at 7 Eastern on TSN, NFL Primetime. And then Sunday Night Baseball, the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. For Ken Singleton and our entire TSN crew, this is Dave Van Horn. So long, everybody.